604, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you. Brie Lynn producing. Starting off your Ash Wednesday at 64 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Welcome aboard, everybody. We are broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio in downtown. And I am... There we go. Having trouble logging onto my computer. All right. We got a unbelievably busy show for you today. More guests than we have guest slots for, believe it or not. We had to move the clock around a lot in order to get this done. We are coming back from a Mardi Gras holiday, although I don't know if you call it a Mardi Gras holiday if you did a little work, but hey, I'll take it. Breland, you had a Mardi Gras?
I stayed at home. I catched up on Netflix and took it slow for a change. I finally was able to just calm down and not go a million directions. I still came up here because I still had to do my air shift on Tiger.
Yeah.
So still had to work, but I didn't have to work a full day, And how was judging? New Roads?
New Roads was fantastic. Okay, let me just say this. I'm a Mardi Gras snob. I'm a self-admitted Mardi Gras snob. But that doesn't mean every crew has to be Rex, okay? Rex is going to be Rex.
Carbacus.
Endemion's going to be Endymion. But every crew needs to be true to what it is. New Roads is awesome.
Holy smokes.
The schools, so like the local elementary schools, they do designed floats that have a theme, and they compete against each other. That's what I was judging, was the school kids, which... We've
done that before at BRC VPA, where your sister...
Okay.
Her kiddos go. Well, anyways, the kindergartners, we have one year was by land, by sea, by...
Okay, thought this,
but same theme, and you have to judge them.
The countries around the world, and we judged them yesterday, and they did phenomenal. They stopped in front of the reviewing stand and put on a skit before moving on with the parade.
That's cute.
Oh, it was adorable. I felt horrible judging. Now, that being said, this is still Louisiana. Judges were open to bribes. Okay. So 3 of the floats brought the judges. Treats. It was me and Lori Molossaw from the partnership and Jeremy Alford from LaPolitics.com. We were the 3 judges. They brought us little gift bags or whatever to bribe the judges. And weirdly enough, the 3 that bribed us were the 3 that came in first, second, and third.
Come on.
I didn't mean to play out that way, but it kind of played out that way. But it was an awesome time. 25 float parade, 3 bands within it. The 3 bands in it all did great. Woodlawn was awesome. Port Allen, and I was talking to someone else when the 3rd band passed by. But all in all, it was great. So,
I'll have to go.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, if you ever want to step away from the madness, if you're normally a big Mardi Gras person, the big
See, I'm gonna have to do that.
And the trucks and all that stuff. It's worth stepping away. It's definitely worth stepping away and going to New Roads.
I grew up in Houma. Cleopatra, Hercules, did New Orleans, did Acadiana parades.
Yeah. Or the other thing is, if you don't normally Mardi Gras and you didn't want to take on all that beast that is New Orleans, then this is that.
There you go.
Middle ground. Hey, we're running way behind. Top stories and trending. Let's go. Two Extrema High School students were arrested for fighting school faculty on consecutive days, according to the Baton Rouge Police Department. Last Tuesday, 18-year-old Jordan George was arrested for battery of a school teacher. The next day, 17-year-old Tyra Tillman arrested on the exact same charge. Not exactly a surprise here, but Paul Sawyer picks up a big endorsement in the District 69 State House race. Former Congressman Garrett Graves has thrown his support behind his former chief of staff. State highway officials say a new interchange between I-10 and Pico Lane will open today, after saying last week it would be March before a change in traffic patterns. Wednesday's opening marks the end of a years-long project to improve traffic flow in the southeastern part of East Baton Rouge Parish. We're going to talk about this with the opening of Pico Lane and the closing of Washington Street with Rodney Mallett at 7:35. So additional survey crews assessed damage across southern Louisiana yesterday that was left behind by weekend storms, and determined 3 additional tornadoes tracked through portions of Ascension, St. James, Lafourche, and far northern Terrebonne parishes. Details on the tornadoes have not yet been released, but they did add 3 to the overall weekend total. Big news dropping at Monday's press club meeting as Baton Rouge businessman John Miller proposed his plan to buy Spirit Airlines. Miller, who's the founder of the Country Club of Louisiana, said he wants to move Spirit's hub to New Orleans, said he's transforming the airline and bringing its headquarters to New Orleans will have a huge impact for the state. What you got?
Did Mark Zuckerberg build Facebook and Instagram to be addictive and harmful to kids? He'll take the stand in Los Angeles, a courtroom today, to defend his meta world.
Yeah, get him.
I mean, it is addictive. I'm addicted. I'm an adult.
Yeah, it's addictive, but is that his fault?
No, it's not his fault. No. Absolutely not. All right. The Nevada City Sheriff is scheduled to hold a news conference today to provide an update on the rescue efforts for 10 missing backcountry skiers near Castle Peak in Nevada, believed to be stuck under an avalanche. What?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
3 skiers got out. I want to say it's either 9 or 10 that are left. Unbelievably scary story. And they've been there overnight now. So,
oh, my gosh. Oh. Team USA takes to the ice today in Milan and will face Sweden in the quarterfinal of the men's tournament. I cannot wait. 2:00 today.
You're watching hockey today?
I love hockey.
All
you
right.
know what I did watch last night? Curling. I'm addicted.
I'm telling you.
I love
I'm
it.
telling you. It is very addictive.
It was Italy and USA.
Once you start watching, it's hard to stop. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's boring, but compelling at the same time. I don't understand
Absolutely
it.
boring, but I couldn't stop watching last night.
You can't. It just because here's the thing. It looks like it should be the simplest thing ever.
It's not.
Right.
So much strategy.
It looks like it ought to be so dadgum easy. But I mean, it's not.
And every time USA nods Italy, I'm like, yeah.
Right. 611 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We got sports coming your way in just a little bit. LSU men's basketball ran Texas up against the brink last night. We'll talk about it a little bit before we take our break, though. Got to remind you about the folks at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is the website. FlyBTR.com. Checking out the website this morning. Everything's running on schedule. In fact, the first 2 flights out this morning, flight to Dallas-Fort Worth, it's already landed at DFW. Flight to Washington, D.C. is already up in the air. And the flight to Atlanta is already up in the air. As far as arrival is concerned, there's nothing coming in until about 9:45, but everything's on schedule. Love that. Now, going beyond that, while you're on the website, you can learn so much more about booking flights, booking vacations, booking your overall travel. You can search car rentals. You can explore hotels. You can look at overall packages that are available. It starts at flybtr.com. Love reminding you that when you are flying, you need to think about the entire experience, not just the ticket price or just the straight flight, the entire experience. Learn more at flybtr.com. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How was your Mardi Gras?
It's
Yeah? Is there a story there?
So part of being a criminal defense attorney, this is for the viewers.
Okay.
Let me turn you on before you get to the team. All right.
All right. So part of being a criminal defense attorney is occasionally you have to look over your shoulder. Or as they say in self-defense, live your life with your head on a swivel.
Okay.
In 2010, I was a public defender. I was just a scrappy dude public defender.
Mm-hmm.
I had a client that was a former teacher that got into trouble for some cyber stalking. This is all public record. Sent some emails, allegedly, got in trouble, and I left and went to the DA's office. Well, this guy believes that I actually was the prosecutor, and I got some calls on Friday that I ruined his life and that I was a marked man, and that he has nothing to lose, et cetera, et cetera. So I got to play the part. I have never had to do this before. I got to play the part of victim. Wait a minute. I've definitely played the part of victim before.
But you got to actually be the victim.
I actually got to be a legitimate victim.
Wow.
So had to call the police and everything. Yeah. And then, that kind of behavior, I'll tell you, it kind of makes you look over your shoulder a little bit, makes you not really want to go anywhere, which I guess is part of the part. Yeah. So I've done this job for 20 years, and that was the first time that's ever happened. So that's not a bad ratio. I mean, that's not bad. One to 20 years. Yeah. So That was
interestingly enough, I'm on the same pace.
That was Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
So why was Tuesday eventful?
Nothing happened. Oh no. The rest of I've been quietly like in my hobbit hole. Like, we didn't have court, so I went to the office a little bit, smoked a whole bunch of cigars. Didn't do the parades. I don't really do parades anymore. I did see some Toth. Was it Toth? Toth Sunday. Everybody looked like they had a blast. So,
did you see what Michael Clay did with his baby?
No, I didn't.
Holding it off the balcony like a blanket. Remember Michael Jackson?
Oh, how'd that go over?
Flawlessly.
Yeah. I guess if you're not Michael. Yeah.
He held the baby he held the baby, took a picture, but he never stopped throwing.
Well, I mean, that's New Orleans, baby. New Orleans, baby.
My guy's the professional.
Yeah.
But yeah, he held the baby, took a picture.
Did y'all ride on the same float? Or
I don't ride.
Oh, I thought you rode.
No. I took the kids down there.
So yeah. I heard Shy got arrested.
Yeah. Unbelievably busy time for LSU sports right now. We'll get you the full rundown in just a second, but we're going to start off with LSU men's basketball. I had the privilege of producing last night's game on the radio side, and I got to tell you, LSU they're 2-11 in SEC play. The tournament is nowhere in their future. This is it is a lost season, to be sure. One will have to wonder after the fact what it meant to lose both Jalen Reed and DJ Thomas, a huge chunk of your talent, a huge chunk of your NIL budget. But I got to tell you, last night, those Tigers did not look like they were not playing for anything. Last night, that LSU basketball team looked like they had something to live for, something to play for. Got a couple of highlights for you as they took on Texas, 88-85, your final score for the game. But let me break it down for you this way. At half, it was 48-33 Texas. LSU wins the second half, 52-40. So you're talking about a team that was at the time 2-10 in conference play, goes into halftime down by 15, and they come out with that kind of battle. Say what you will about this team and where the program's headed, but Matt McMahon has not lost this locker room, and that's an important thing. Couple of highlights real quick. First of all, Jalen Reese, after DJ Thomas, after it was announced before the game Saturday that he was having season-ending surgery, Jalen Reese has really moved into his own as point guard. You could see it. It was evident last night. In fact, give me 1.1 if you don't mind, Breland, as Reese was hot early.
Reese off the screen from Nwoko. Step back three, right of the arc. Good. Jalen Reese with a Bingo Pets product three-pointer. And the Tigers back on top 9-6. Jalen Reese quickly with 5 points here in the first 5 minutes. Good to see the freshman get some confidence coming off that performance on Saturday. Now,
Confidence would be a theme with Reese the whole night. By the way, he ended up with 14 points. He ended up with 9 assists and only 1 turnover. Completely different than the Jalen Reese that started off the season. While we're at it, let's move over to another player who has been growing as well. That would be, how about Robert Miller III, Max McKinnon on the giving end this time around in the second half.
McKinnon, the lob to Miller, and he will slam it with the right hand. He comes up a little gimpy. Finally up to full speed, still kind of giving to that left foot. A great pass and lob. Another assist for Max McKinnon. Miller puts in the bucket, 57-43.
That was as they were creeping back in. Miller would only have 20 minutes on the night. He would actually foul out. So between that gimpiness and the foul trouble, he only had 4 points on the night. As far as Max McKinnon, he led the team in scoring. We'll get back to that in a second, but I did want to check in on Pablo Tamba, who has flashes of brilliance like this one.
Passes to Swain. Swain guarded by Tamba. Tamba knocked the ball free by his lonesome. Tamba will dunk it at the other end. Transition basket, all created by Pablo Tamba. His first 2 points, and it comes at a critical time. He cuts the Texas lead to 4, 65-61.
And they would toy with the Texas lead. They would whittle it down to 1. It would go back up to 5, and that would be the way it would go for the remainder of the night. But this team battled all night long. So they've got Alabama on Saturday, which is a tall test because Bama's likely a 4 or 5 seed in the tournament. LSU baseball is going to be in that today. 1 p.m. your start time. They're taking on Nichols in the box. You will hear that on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. And yeah, this is the busy time, y'all. Basketball, softball, basketball, men's and women's, baseball, and softball all going on. It's 6:20. So I judged I was a celebrity judge for the New Roads Mardi Gras Parade yesterday. So
how'd you line that gig up?
They asked. I don't know.
Celebrity judge?
Just a judge.
Were you the celebrity judge or were you amongst other celebrity judge?
Lori Malasa for the Baton Rouge area economic partnership, formerly BRAC.
I'm familiar with.
And Jeremy Alford.
Do we say Dr. Melanson or she's a doctor, isn't she?
Is she?
I don't know. Jeremy Alford?
Jeremy Alford from LaPolitics.com.
Yeah, I went to Catholic High with him, yeah. How's he doing? He's doing okay?
It's good. He is, I didn't know he was divorced. He's dating a girl named Annie something. She seemed really sweet. Apparently, she worked here way back in the day. So,
Good morning, Kim.
I guess ex-wife worked with Visit Baton Rouge. Is she still over there? Yeah.
As far as I know, I didn't ask about her much because I didn't know that he was.
It's kind of once you find out about the divorce, you're like, I don't really want to talk about the other half because it's about you.
Yeah.
By the way, Brian Haldane, celebrity judge.
I should have just said judge.
He is a celebrity, though.
You are a celebrity.
I am not.
Brian Haldane.
I am not.
So I will say that I didn't do anything romantic for Valentine's Day weekend.
I was going to say, did you have a date? Nothing?
Everything fizzled. There was no dates. There was no nothing. Yeah. Well, then once I got the death threats, it was like, Maggie and I hung out. My dog and I. Yes.
Did Kim give her a little outfit for Valentine's
I don't want to talk about Kim dressing my dog. It's Kim is using
we're talking about you dressing Franz's dog.
Kim uses my dog to get guys when she's dog sitting. It's
smart, though. Kim, that's smart. Oh, and yeah, Keith, don't understand a dang thing about curling at all.
Canadians are cheaters.
But
that's what I understand.
So I went to Texas Roadhouse and had beers last night. Freaking phenomenal.
Time to head back to the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. We get some minor delays on 12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. That's about it on your interstates. 10 westbound's looking good coming in from Ascension Parish. 10 eastbound is looking good coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish. At 110 smooth as well. Surface streets, look out for an accident, or I'm sorry, a stalled vehicle. This happened about an hour ago. Beechwood at Greenwell Street. So hopefully that's been pushed off to the side of the road, but it is still on the board. So I tell you about it. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. .623 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. One more button-up note on that basketball. Markel Sutton hit 21 points on the night. Max McKinnon hit 27. That's who led the Tigers last night. We just got jammed up on time. Going to get you to Legally Served here in just one quick minute. Do need to remind you about the folks at Neurojust. Neurojust.com is where you will find them online. You will also find them in real life over on Bluebonnet Boulevard. Give you that address in just a minute. I do need to tell you who Neurojust serves. If you or someone you know or love is battling with anxiety or depression, you need Neurojust, especially if you have thus far been treatment resistant. You don't like the way you feel on antidepressants or the meds just aren't working. The sit down, talk it out therapy is great for a lot of people. Maybe it's not for you. Neurojust treats things differently. Think of it like physical therapy for your brain. Okay. If you have a knee injury, sure, you can take some ibuprofen, knock out the pain, but that doesn't fix your knee. Same thing with transcranial magnetic stimulation. This would be the physical therapy for the brain. And oh, by the way, insurance is going to pick up the tab. Want to learn more? Give them a call, 225-330-7382. 225-330-7382. They are located on Jefferson Highway, right here in Baton Rouge. In fact, specifically, I have the address right in front of me. Where did it go? Oh, no. Specifically, it is 4992 Blue Bonnet. Learn more at neurojust.com. All right.
Did watch some good Mel Brooks movies.
Do what?
I watched some good Mel Brooks movies.
That's good.
There's a documentary about Mel Brooks on Max, 90-year-old man or 99-year-old man or whatever however old he is. You should, if you're a Mel Brooks fan, you should absolutely watch it. Two episodes.
Not yet, but he is.
Okay.
I don't want him talking over them.
Yeah.
That was just.
Oh, I am too. Okay.
That was just me and you talking. I'm sorry.
No, I know, but it's in the headset.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's not you.
I didn't want y'all talking over the bed.
Morning, Franz.
Dust.
How are you, sir?
Dust. I'm dust. Ashes. Dust. Happy
All right.
Ash Wednesday.
Yes, happy Ash Wednesday to you. Were you headed to Mercy for 8?
No, I'm going to be doing Court TV after this at 7:30 Central, and I'm going to be heading to Mercy this evening for 6 p.m. Mass.
You want to join me?
I Fisher and I would be lovely.
No, I'm not going to Mercy.
Where are you going?
I'm going to St. Francis Xavier right over there.
What time?
9.
Now, that is intriguing. I'll text you.
Okay.
I have court this morning, but that's
Oh,
intriguing.
okay. Well, I didn't know if you squeeze it in
Is
between
that a
court.
school and a church?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Not just a Catholic thing, by the way. Ash Wednesday's pretty much a Christian.
They have churches that give drive-through ashes.
How you feel about that? I feel like you don't like it.
Not the day for me to go on a rant there, Franz. Not the day. I mean, today's about the beginning of repentance.
Lent's about
Today-
giving up something.
That's right. That's right. It's about sacrifice, not about self-indulgence. I'm fasting from that rant right now.
Well, you know, there's some schools of thought. It's not law. We're not talking about law now.
But it's not even a holy day of obligation in the Catholic Church.
I had to Google that because I was having that conversation with somebody. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Now, fasting. Now, if you're Catholic, you are supposed to fast today.
Yeah, but our rules on you're gonna
Fasting
drive
is
me
like,
down this rabbit hole.
like
The
fasting with
rules
a little
on fasting are so lame, weak.
Well, why
They're
don't you-
terrible. They're namby-pamby rules. You're fasting, but you could have one snack and one meal? No. Jesus wasn't in the desert pulling out a Lunchable.
So, you know, you yourself can fast however you want to fast.
You're darn right I am. Look, here's
Bread and water.
No.
Bread and water.
coffee.
Coffee and bread.
Coffee. Nothing solid all day long. How about that?
Out of all the things I thought about giving up for Lent, there was a brief moment where I thought about coffee,
No.
and then I started laughing, and I was like, God, you'd understand.
No.
So, what are we talking about? What law? We had a few cases.
There's a couple of them here. I kind of like the one that you sent better than the two that I sent.
Statute of limitations for
Yeah.
getting justice on sexual assaults. Now, this is not a Louisiana legislative push. This is out of what? New York?
New York City. Okay, I'll read the setup from WAFB. A new bill has been introduced that aims to remove legal barriers for sexual abuse and human trafficking survivors seeking justice. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer unveiled the bill in New York Monday. The legislation is called Virginia's Law, named after Virginia Gliff. I don't know, I'm missing the last name. One of Jeffrey Epstein's high-profile accusers. Schumer said the bill would allow adult victims of sexual abuse and trafficking to file civil claims against their abusers without a time limit. Quote, for years, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse were ignored. They were doubted, silenced, dismissed. But when the truth came out, even the world finally listened. Too many survivors were told by the law, it's too late, your justice has expired, Schumer said. That makes no sense. Melanie Blows, a survivor and advocate in Rochester, she said she's been impacted by the statute of limitations. Quote, it does take trafficking survivors, whether they were trafficked as minors or adults, many, many years to be able to talk about this, to get their life into a situation where they want to press charges and where they can even think about doing this. All right, that's the setup. There's more to the story.
We've talked about
That's the
this in
setup.
another context.
Yeah, we have.
Isn't Epstein dead?
Yeah.
So how do you get justice out of a dead person?
That's my first question right there. And so this is why I wanted to talk about this topic, Franz, is because My opinion is going to be very, very unpopular right here, and I'm going to borderline sound like I'm protecting abusers.
Accused abusers.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Because how can you prove otherwise that far down the line? And forget for a moment that it's Jeffrey Epstein. Let's say instead of it being Jeffrey Epstein, it's a fine, upstanding businessman in a small town who's had a great reputation for years and years and years. And I'm making up a hypothetical man right now. But you bring up an accusation that is 40 or 50 years old, completely unprovable at that point, and he's destroyed. He's done forever. That's the setup. We're going to get to some actual legal analysis on the back end of it. We got to take a break for news, traffic, and weather. Franz Borghardt's in for Legally Served. We'll continue next.
Xavier. Francis, where is that? Downtown?
Just outside of downtown. Just go to St. Agnes and hang a. I mean, it's like literally 2 blocks from St. Agnes.
Is it connected to St. Agnes at all, or is it its own separate entity?
No, but it's the only all African American church all African American Catholic church in Baton Rouge.
Okay. K through 5?
I think so.
I'm surprised that hasn't been gobbled up by Sacred Heart. I mean, I know there's a distance there, but
I don't think they want to touch the only all African American.
yeah, fair enough. Call that gentrification.
They start at 9. Oh, by the way, I got to figure out what to do for the last segment of the show because I'm going to bounce at 8:50. So, yeah, I'll figure it out. We'll get something either recorded or dropped in or something. But
More Dilemma Monday.
Yeah, we could do more Dilemma Monday.
On a Wednesday?
Yeah. Why not?
Is today Wednesday? Yeah, that's right. I just lost complete track of time.
I'll get Franz on the phone. We'll do the last time.
Sure.
You know, I have season basketball tickets, and I have not been able to go to one game yet.
That's why they're losing.
Saturday, I'm going to take the boy. I'm getting decent tickets, too. I don't know. Men's tickets.
Saturday, 5.
Coach Mulkey told me to get the tickets before the first season while they were cheap, and I did not listen to her.
No.
How are they expensive now, or?
Oh, yeah. I mean, not a normal leg.
Well, yeah, the normal tickets when you can get them.
It's really expensive. It's $2 a ticket now. I'm joking.
No, secondhand tickets. Now this is an anomaly. Secondhand market tickets for the LSU South Carolina game last Saturday, going for $350.
Good for those ladies.
Yeah,
good for them.
Oh no, they don't see shit from that money.
Well, the program does, right? I mean,
no,
not
secondhand
really?
market.
Oh. Well, they are competitively in it every year now, right? I mean, they may not win the national championship,
but they're a hot commodity,
right?
Yeah, I gotta wonder though how much longer Mulkey's gonna stick around. She's gonna end up getting a lot of criticism if they don't make the Final Four this year, and
yeah, but it's not like
the people who,
men's football where like they wouldn't drive her off, huh?
They're not gonna drive her off, but they'll give her make her
criteria.
Life come. Well, first of all, NIL dollars have to come from somewhere. And if you get tired of pumping NIL dollars without seeing championships, and she's got one under her belt, so she's okay. But this year should have been better to this point. I still think they're going to win the whole thing, but that's just me.
I think they're phenomenal this year. Not compared to how they've been, but they're good.
They have gaps. They have huge gaps. What happened on Saturday night was not Kim Mulkey's fault. Unless she doesn't practice free throws. But my what comes up next is who would be next? If Mulkey does move on, or just calls it a career.
She fits in so well with LSU. I would hate to lose her. David said, good morning.
Good morning. Oh, good morning, Chandler. And good morning, Christy. I'm hoping Christy's up. She doesn't have to be up. She should be sleeping.
I want to go back to bed.
There was an insane amount of cars on the road this morning, and everybody's trying to get out of New Orleans early.
I'm a little disappointed I didn't have a Christmas themed coffee mug this morning.
Yeah, that's lame.
I've got a Starbucks jersey cup going on. It's pretty cool.
I have Tech Gumbo.
That is one of the best. That is one of the best.
He don't want to drink out of his other cup because it tastes like ass.
So Tech Gumbo is one of the, shout out to Haggai. That's one of the best coffee mugs I own. Like,
I need to get me one.
I want
It's like old school Friends days.
Yeah.
It's like
big
Central
and-
Park, bucket of coffee.
You know, if I were single and I was living in New York and I had a chance to date Rachel, Monica, or Phoebe, I was going to say Monica. Monica's the right son of crazy. I couldn't score a Rachel. I couldn't score a Rachel. But Monica, she's the right kind of crazy.
Ross pulled Rachel.
Yeah. I'd like to pull a Rachel, guys. Monica. I can say she said a lot. By the way, Courtney Cox. I saw her for the first time in a show called Landman. She's had some work done. She's
What did
aged
she play
a
in
little bit.
Landman?
She is IMDb it. I think she is dating the cartel oil investor,
Well, they keep pulling stars into the show.
Andy Garcia.
Okay.
Damn.
Gorgeous woman.
She's had a lot of work done. But
I mean, trust me,
I hate that.
Do you not go after Rachel and go after Monica because you build up Monica's confidence that way? I mean, is that Phoebe's crazy? Did Phoebe ever date anybody on the show?
she got married on the show.
Ugh.
Yeah, she got married. She got married once. Yeah.
.637 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt rolling right along. Talking about a story the WAFB had that it's playing on a national level as Chuck Schumer's looking to pass some legislation. The legislation was unveiled in a bill. The bill was unveiled in New York on Monday. It's called Virginia's Law, and it's about removing the statute of limitations for sexual abuse survivors. Now, Franz, I got to ask questions about this on a legal basis. My take on it initially is that this is a terrible idea on the end of it. The further you get away from the crime, the harder it is to prove the crime. But the more heinous the crime you're accused of, the harder it is to shake in the public.
So we've got to be careful to use our terms right.
Sure.
This law seems to be talking about civil justice, not criminal justice.
Okay.
If you're asking me what are my thoughts on an unlimited statute of limitation on criminal prosecution, my concern is you start running into obstacles about fundamental fairness, reasonable doubt, because if you wait 30 years and there's no forensic evidence, it starts becoming problematic to prosecute, and frankly, it becomes problematic to defend. If we're talking civil, okay, well, I'm a little bit more open-minded to that. I'm more open-minded to that. The problem with Epstein is, though, that Epstein's dead.
Right. Whether
He killed himself or was murdered, Epstein's dead. So what you're really talking about is suing his estate.
Right.
Same problem. And look, I'll take a giant step back. There is a reason sometimes individuals who are sexual assault victims who have been trafficked do wait to report. There is a legitimate reason. There is.
No, I understand that.
Right.
I understand that completely. Okay. And
but
yes,
it becomes impossible to distinguish between the true victim survivor
Mhm.
and someone who's just trying to get a coin.
Right. And
how do you prove it?
the part I'm trying to avoid here, partly because it's Ash Wednesday, is because this can take
You're
us
riled
over.
up. You're riled up on Ash Wednesday.
No, because this can take us over to the Catholic Church.
Well, that we did talk about.
How many
this.
posthumous accusations have there been where it can't be defended?
Well, so therein lies again the part of the conversation of we know that just because you can't prove something doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Also, yes, we know that.
In our justice system, it does mean it, but in life, in moral natural law, just because I can't prove it doesn't mean.
But we also know the more people that shout something, the more likely the public is to believe it.
Right.
Because, well, there's no way that many people are lying.
The problem is for true survivor victims with an unlimited statute of limitation, the true survivor who says, hey, assuming there's no document, we're living in a vacuum though. When we have this conversation, we're assuming it's just word, your word versus the other person's word. Assuming there's no evidence. If there's evidence, there's picture of you being trafficked by a celebrity. Hey, there's documentation of your flight tickets. Hey, there's the pregnancy test, whatever. Pregnancy test may not be the right one, but that's different. But if it's just Brian is accusing someone of doing something, that person is saying they didn't do it, and that's the extent of the evidence we have. That's problematic because the true victim looks very similar to the person who may just be looking to get a dollar.
Right.
Because it's word against word at that point.
Right.
Which is sufficient. It is sufficient. You can...
that's part of the... Yeah, I'm sorry, I cut you off. But that's part of the equation. It's word against word, but in reality, it's word plus weight of accusation versus word plus weight of time. That's a much longer equation.
Would you feel better if surviving victim after however many years had proof that she had been trafficked to the island, proof that she was held at the island, photographic proof of her with men of a certain age? Would that make you feel better in the context of the Epstein conversation?
1,000%.
Right. Versus, versus
I'm there.
Hey, there's no pictures of you at the island. And by the way, I assume there were people that were trafficked by Epstein that there are no pictures of and that there are no evidence of. So my heart goes out to them. In the same way, and I said this when we talked about the Catholic Church civil prosecutions or civil suits, in the same way I said, as a Catholic, there's no one who gets pissed off more about sexual assault in the Catholic Church than a good Catholic.
Right.
That said, man, oh man, you start lobbing allegations at people that can't be defended or proven beyond this person did this, and it becomes real problematic. And unfortunately, now look, this is New York. New York's the crazy place. This is New York.
No. This is national. It was just announced in New York.
No. It is. Oh wait, it's going to be a
Chuck
national.
Schumer. Yeah, U.S. senator. So yeah,
I don't know that he can make a U.S. law that federal. Maybe federal criminal process.
He's not in an elected position to make a New York law.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is I don't know that. So your tort action goes under state law. Now, if there's a federal human trafficking law, that's different, and the Congress can pass that. And the crazy thing about this is what legislator or what congressperson is going to say, I don't want unlimited statutes of limitation for sexual victims.
There you go.
Who's going to vote against that? No matter how irrational it may be.
Thank you. Because anybody who votes against it is guilty of sexual trafficking.
So you're promoting human trafficking, right?
Isn't that the way it's going to play in the public eye? Is if you vote against this law, clearly you were on Epstein Island.
There's no way AOC is going to look at a person who's against this and say, who's against this and say something like, so what you're saying is you want to human traffic minors. There's no way she would say something like that.
Are you kidding me?
I'm being very sarcastic. I'm using my sarcastic voice.
I understand.
So careful what you fish for. The problem is you accuse someone of doing something.
Right.
I've been accused of doing stuff. Everybody in this room probably has been accused of doing stuff you didn't do. I've been accused of doing stuff I did do. Two distinctly different feelings, by the way. When you're accused of something you didn't do and you're having to prove or disprove something that didn't happen, you would think that it's easy, but 20, 30 years, it's not.
Right.
Like, where was I? And by the way, here's the other problem with the sexual assault allegations sometimes is they can't narrow it down and pin it down to a day at a time. It's a period of time. So the concept of, well, wait, I was in Cuba when that happened. I wasn't trafficking on the island.
Right.
Right. It becomes a very difficult posture when 20, 30 years, you're like,
what day were you?
Well, it was this period of time. Yeah. It was these months.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to narrow it down to all that. And that makes it so much easier to just throw out accusations without definitive proof.
Tough stuff, man. It's tough stuff, though.
And how do you dig yourself out, either posthumously or it's even, harder then, but like, how do you dig yourself out of that if you are living and you're accused? Because now your life is completely destroyed.
So in our own backyard in Grand Coteau, there was a priest, or is a priest, that was accused of sexual assault.
Okay.
And he was asked to take a break from being a priest for a period of time while this investigation went on. Ultimately, the accuser recanted. My bad.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do for that? What do you do for that accused person?
I don't know.
How about legislation that if you're going to protect true victims, survivors of sexual assault, you're also going to protect people who are wrongfully accused of sexual assault, and they should have a right of action that is without limit of time.
Yeah. Well, and what's the likelihood that people believe the recanting? Once that cat's out of the bag, I mean, what's your immediate response after that? Oh, he's bought off.
Well, that tends to
backroom deal.
I mean, if it's Diddy, it's one thing. If it's a parish priest, it's
No, completely. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. There's one more aspect of this I want to look at when we come back. Coming up on 647 at Talk 107.3 FM, we will check traffic. We will take a look at your money now. He's attorney Franz Borghardt in for Legally Serve, which will continue next.
IRS.
Virginia's law is federal, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, am I seeing that Troy's telling me that it's not Courtney Cox who's playing that character and it's somebody else?
Yeah, she said it.
Thank God, Troy. Thank God.
I'm not seeing Courtney Cox anywhere.
Then she's not in Landman. Woo.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through all the people in Landman.
I had a mistake of actress. Boy, I feel a lot better about Courtney Cox now.
I can't say her last name. Spam Panito?
I don't know, but I feel a lot better because I was like, ooh, Courtney's looking like she's got some work done.
Courtney has had work done.
Yeah.
She looks rough as hell.
Yeah.
No offense to her, but she needs to lay off the Botox.
I'd sit on that couch in New York. What was the name of the coffee shop?
Central Perk.
I'd sit in Central Perk with Monica. Jennifer Aniston has aged beautifully.
Oh, yeah.
Beautifully.
Troy shot you a question.
I'm not on, so I can't.
Franz, what's the practical effect of the punish the recanter idea? Less people will recant unless a not guilty is considered a recant.
I don't want to punish the recanter. I want to give the person who's wrongfully accused a right of action against persons who wrongfully accuse. So
I would like to up the ante on saying if you are going to accuse, this is what's going to happen if you can't prove it.
I mean, here's the thing. Someone who's wrongfully accused still has to pay for a defense, whether in civil court or in criminal court. And that is costly. So
especially in the ante needs to be up to say, if you can't prove what you're trying to tell us, because that person is innocent until proven guilty. But when it comes to accusations like this, we don't care.
So you know what they do in the civil cases?
We're innocent until the news cycle starts.
So you know what they do in the civil cases, like with Diddy and other like mass victim claimers or accusers, is they use polygraphists. The civil attorneys use polygraphists to screen the accuser to get as the first layer of like, because, hey, Diddy did the X, Y, and Z to me without more proof than that. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but they will make that person go to a polygraphist.
Interesting. Well,
it's a thing.
I thought those weren't admissible.
It's not about admissibility. It's about, hey, is this person lying or not lying? It's not flawless, but
have y'all been seeing the shit about Shia LaBeouf?
Mm-hmm.
I'm rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Dude was sober though, completely sober.
He just got into a fight. That never happens at Mardi Gras in New Orleans.
But the whole thing is he's back to drinking and partying again, and he's not sober anymore.
Wait, was he sober? Oh, so you're saying, man, it's he was sober. He was going through a religious phase.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sober, so got clean.
Play Padre Pio. He played Padre Pio.
And then homeboy got out of jail last night, and now he's back partying on Bourbon.
Well, to be fair, simple
Monday
battery or fist fights in New Orleans for Mardi Gras is generally a summons.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, look at him. Oh no,
yeah, it's a lot more rougher. It's a lot rougher in New Orleans than it is in New Roads, I'll tell you that. Although there was one Point Could Be sheriff's deputy who was blocking the road, who was like wearing enough gear to take down Kandahar. Like, oh man, he was ready for everything except warmth. He was ready for everything except a hot day. 652 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. I do want to touch on one other topic before we get done with Legally Served, but we got to kind of put the button on this this no statute of limitations for accusers of sexual assault and or trafficking. Franz, is there a way to have a repercussion for false accusers in this? I think a lot of this discussion would change if there were something on the line. If you are accused of a crime that is this heinous, then your life is over with. Just by the accusation, your life is over with.
There is absolutely a way of giving a cause of action to a wrongfully accused individual in the whatever federal statute they're crafting. The problem is it's the same political problem you're going to have is you're going to discourage people from coming forward because they're going to be afraid that they're going to be sued and this, that, and the other.
I understand that. I understand that. But
accountability should cut both ways, right?
Yes, it should. Yes, it should. And I will bring this up as an example because I haven't dug myself a deep enough hole. I want more people to hate me. I'm going to bring this up as an example. Was Michael Jackson ever convicted of molesting anyone?
No.
He was never convicted of any kind of sexual assault crime.
Correct.
But we all look at Michael Jackson a certain way, don't we? It doesn't go away.
I still celebrate his music.
Same. We put it in the Moral Dilemma Monday Open.
He wrote Thriller. Thriller.
You don't need to quote Chappelle. But we have him in the Moral Dilemma Monday Open. I still celebrate his music,
never
convicted of anything. And yet here we are in 2026 and everyone still looks at him the same way.
So as a lawyer,
because you just know.
So as a lawyer, I have to remind myself that when I say things like he was never convicted or a jury never found him civilly liable, I have to remind myself that the normal people of the world are like, well, it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right.
And
that's my point.
The normal people of the world are going to say, just to counter you, the normal people of the world are going to say, man, if you have a whole bunch of money, you can sure make things go away. That's the problem, right? There's no easy solution to what we're talking about.
And there's one other problem with this as well. And I want you to address the part of this discussion that says, why would it take 30 or 40 years for someone to come forward? Franz, why would it take 30 or 40 years for someone to come forward?
So survivors, victims, and this is not me, this is what we've seen clinically, they are disinclined to come forward. It sometimes takes them time to come forward. Why would it take 20 to 30 years? I don't know. But like if it's a parent molesting a kid, it may be something that takes several years. Yeah.
So you're no longer under their protection.
So I think that there's no simple answer to that question. The problem is it may be I'm fear of reprisal. I'm fearing that nobody's going to believe me. I'm fearing that maybe I concocted all this in my mind, but it really did happen. There's a lot of different fears.
The only person who can control your fear is you.
Correct.
And I think this is a part of the discussion that needs to be had to where, because I'm a big mental health guy. I'm a big supporter.
You are.
I firmly believe that we are nowhere in this country when it comes to overall mental health. That's why I tell you about NeuroJust every day. I love their mission and what they do. Absolutely. But if it takes 40 years for you to come around to a place where you can finally talk about something, 40 years is not adulthood. 40 years is middle age.
Well, so what we're talking also about is if the accused is even still alive, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But what you're now talking about is going after the estates of those who have passed. And now you're inflicting damage on family members of the accused.
Yeah.
Let's say the estate settled. Where's that money where's that money going to come from? Like where are you getting it from?
Right.
It's easy if there's what we're really talking about is we're talking about somebody with money that you're going to sue.
That's correct.
Because you're not going to sue Bob or Susie, the school teacher, because they're not going to really have much of a pot to piss in.
Yeah. But that in and of itself ought to be a red flag. Because
are you suggesting it may sometimes be about the money?
100%.
Because that's all that you get from a civil suit.
Right.
You don't ever get a handshake and I'm sorry. You don't ever get there's no, we found you liable in civil, so you're going to go to jail now. No. It's about money. It's about money. Bucket of money.
You know who we're going to have to hear from on this?
Who are you going to have to hear from?
No, you already know. We can talk about it off the air. Hey, do we have time? We get 2 minutes left. This isn't enough time to get into the
Shia.
No, well, I'll tell you what. Let's just riff on him for a minute because that's not a real topic. Shia LaBeouf got arrested again in New Orleans. Again. Over the Mardi Gras holiday for what? Fight. No big deal.
I didn't go to New Orleans this year, but isn't New Orleans one of those, we're just going to kind of turn a blind eye to basic crime during Mardi Gras? You can
minor crime.
You can piss and poop in the street. You can smoke weed, but you can't get outside of a bar and hit the snot out of somebody. That's where we draw this imaginary line.
1,000%.
Yes, that's absolutely where you draw the line.
1,000% where you draw the line. Yes. Yeah, having to relieve yourself when nobody opens a bathroom is one thing.
In the middle of the street.
I would defer to, find an alley. That's fine.
Yeah.
But when you physically assault someone else, that's another thing. Allegedly, by the way, because he hasn't had his day in court yet.
I mean, maybe they had it coming.
Yeah.
Maybe he was acting in self-defense. Maybe he's absolutely guilty of a simple battery, and that's a misdemeanor in this state or in that city. This made so much news, but I'm sitting there watching the entire time thinking, yeah, there's nothing really to see here.
No. Doesn't he do this like every other Mardi Gras?
I think he had some stability in his life, and then I think he fell off the proverbial wagon. And when he falls off the wagon, he sometimes, boys will be boys. And so this,
fair.
He was Padre Pio. He played a priest.
I never saw Padre. Is it a movie?
It was a movie. Yes.
I never saw. I didn't know if it was
oddly enough
a
about
docudrama or whatever.
Padre Pio.
Well, I mean, if he could have put himself in two places at once, he would have gone the other place.
Biolocation.
Yeah.
Which is what Padre Pio used to do.
That's why I made the reference.
Well, not everybody would have known that. I was just helping out the.
All right, Mr. Inside Joke's going to explain my inside joke. That works. He's attorney Franz Borghardt. You got Court TV coming up later this morning. Awesome. And then it's off to Mass for. Hey, I got to ask you. When you have a bald head, do they make the cross bigger?
They do actually.
I kind of had a feeling. I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen.
Real fast, our church that we like to enjoy going to, they don't go light. They spackle it.
One deacon in particular. He's Franz Borghardt. We do Legally Served every week. Hour 2's up next. That'd be Deacon Grant, who goes heavy.
You know, Kim says he hit the guy working the door in the face and they blew him out.
Oh.
Damn, y'all.
There's a young man. I'm friends with Kim outside of the radio. There is a young man. Are we still broadcasting on Facebook?
Facebook, yes.
There's a young man that is very much interested in Kim that is age appropriate, but there's an age gap. And everybody who loves and cares about Kim tells Kim, you need to get over that age gap. And, you know.
Oh, she has a strict age gap?
I don't know if she has a strict age gap, but she's letting her ageism, too young, get in the way of a good time. And he is age appropriate, by the way.
Wait, he's too young?
He's too young.
Kim.
Yes. What did Jesus say? Or what did the chick say? Sometimes the dog eats from the scraps of the table.
Oh, Lord.
Say.
Oh! Text me who's going to...
He said, what did Jesus say? I thought you were going a completely different route. He said, same thing as Bill Cosby. Bring in the children.
That's so...
The search for Nancy Guthrie continuing in Arizona 2.5 weeks after she went missing from her Tucson home. About 2 miles away, not a match for anyone in the FBI's criminal database. So now, says ABC's Darren Petersky in Tucson.
Detectives are going to gun stores here in Tucson asking about suspicious customers and sales of a particular gun and the holster that looks like the one the man wore on his hip. They're also trying to identify the brand of his jacket and his mask. The sheriff says they purchased at Walmart. His Ozark backpack. They're working with Walmart receipts and surveillance video.
You're talking about this. It's a parent. And now you're not gonna sue. You found your person. Oh! Bucket of money. Boys will be boys. That's the problem. Mental health guy. There's a lot of different things. Should sometimes this is not right. Myself, this music, sued, whatever federal.
Kim Franz.
You run that risk, Kim, by having Franz in your life. Your business is not personal. It's always in the public. This is who he is and what he does. And we love him for it.
Kim Franz is putting all your laundry on the street. But Kim, if he's like rich, would you consider babysitting? She's like, I don't want to babysit.
Franz did not say how young. You know what? Actually, the more I think about it, I
26.
You know what? I kind of have Kim's back. Hey, he's legal. He's not age appropriate. He's legal. You got to be a mature 26. I don't even know how old Kim is.
26.
I don't even know how old.
26 is young for me. And I'm young.
What do you do for that? School teacher.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 107.3 traffic center.
Normal no statute of parish free.
Oh, Lord. Barnes says hire a babysitter and go shopping with his cards. Yeah, see, Kim, when you're closer to the age of the parents, nah, that's what I'm out to.
Shit.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Relief Window. Experience, quality, and service. ReliefWindow.com. Talk 107.3 Weather.
The last few days, the clouds have been really stubborn to leave, and today looks very similar. We're going to start off the morning with a lot of cloud cover, and it looks like they're going to stick around for most of the day, although a few peaks of sunshine will be possible as we do move into the afternoon. Temperatures will warm up even more, getting to 78 degrees. Overnight, we see some clouds followed by patchy fog development and lows coming up to 63 degrees. And on Thursday, highs will ramp up to 83 degrees. I'm meteorologist Rogers with your storm station forecast. Channel 2.
Kim says, I'll date a poor man.
Did the Olympic update run? I totally missed it. All right. 706 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along, ticking up 1 degree to 65 in downtown Baton Rouge to start off your Ash Wednesday morning. Brian here with you, Bree Lynn producing, broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. We've got a jam-packed hour this hour, y'all. When I talk jam-packed, we're inventing segments to plug more guests in today. Chris Meyer from the Baton Rouge Area Foundation going to hop on board in our next segment. They've got another learning trip coming up real soon. Also want to talk about the City Park Lakes with Chris. We got Chris Meyer in our next segment. Rodney Mallett from DOTD is going to join us at 7:35. We got an exit shutting down and an exit opening up. Pico Lane exit opens up today, or I think it's already open over there off of I-10. Meanwhile, the process of shutting down the Washington Street exit begins today. That's going to take place over a few days. We'll talk with Rodney about both of those. And then we're going to talk Opera Louisiana. They've got a fundraiser going on right now. Our good friend Debra Todd is going to hop on the hotline along with the head of the opera at 7:52. Right now, though. Oh, wait. I got to make sure to do this because folks might have been sleeping in at the beginning of the show. I want to give a shout out to Major Tebow. I want to give a shout out to Mayor Smith of New Roads. I want to give a shout out to King Kevin Guidry. All hail. I want to give a shout out to Sarah Gummos, the New Roads Lions Club, and to Desiree Lemoyne. Was invited out to New Roads to be a judge in their Mardi Gras parade yesterday. Got to tell you, as an official Mardi Gras snob, I absolutely loved every moment of it. The kids put on the kids from different schools would decorate their floats. By the way, secondary shout out to the Italian float, because not only did you do a great job, but you know how to offer a great bribe to the judges. So wonderful job over in New Roads. The New Roads Mardi Gras is fantastic. It is family friendly. Just great route, great floats, couple of bands within. We had a great time. The Haldanes went out there yesterday. We had a great time across the board. So thank you to the aforementioned for bringing me out there, along with Lauren Malonsaw from the Economic Partnership and Jeremy Alford from LaPolitics.com. It was just a fantastic Mardi Gras. If you don't normally make Mardi Gras plans because you're just scared of how big New Orleans is, hit up New Roads. It just fits the bill perfectly. All right, top stories and trending. Let's go. Starts us off with the storms from a weekend ago. The National Weather Service has now confirmed that they've added 3 tornadoes to the official list. Additional survey crews assessed damage across southern Louisiana yesterday that was left behind by the previous weekend storms. Officials determined the 3 additional tornadoes tracked through portions of Ascension, St. James, Lafourche, and far northern Terrebonne parishes were in fact tornadoes. However, we don't have details yet on wind speeds and rank and whatnot. 2 Estruma High School students were arrested for fighting school faculty on consecutive days, according to BRPD. Last Tuesday, 18-year-old Jordan George was arrested for battery of a school teacher. The very next day, 17-year-old Tyra Tillman was arrested on the exact same charge. Not exactly unexpected, but Paul Sawyer picks up a big endorsement in the District 69 state house race. Former Congressman Garrett Graves has thrown his support behind his former chief of staff. Yes, that was Sawyer's previous gig. State highway officials say a new interchange between I-10 and Pico Lane will open today. They said last week it was going to be pushed back a little bit. Not the case. The opening marks the end of a years-long project to improve traffic flow in the southeastern part of East Baton Rouge Parish. We got Rodney Mallett coming up at 7:35 to talk about it. Big news dropping at Monday's press club meeting as Baton Rouge businessman John Miller proposed his plan to buy Spirit Airlines. Miller, who's the founder of the Country Club of Louisiana, said he wants to move Spirit's hub to New Orleans. He said transforming the airline and bringing its headquarters to the Big Easy will have a huge economic impact for the entire state. I was not able to attend the press club on Monday. I have so many follow-up questions on this, so we're going to effort to get Miller on the show. What you got, Breland?
Did Mark Zuckerberg build Facebook and Instagram to be addictive and harmful to kids? He'll take the stand in a Los Angeles courtroom today to defend his meta world.
You're going to put me in a position to defend Mark Zuckerberg for crying out loud?
Right.
Like, no, you're responsible for your own actions. I'm responsible for my own actions. And when it comes to children, the parents are responsible for what their children like.
Screen time.
Screen time. Exactly. And all the safeguards are in there, and they advertise Instagram for kids now.
What?
Because it's because so many kids have been, falling down this addictive doom scrolling path and whatnot, living life comparatively, which essentially was what started Facebook, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Smash pass, hot or not, whatever. That living life comparatively is what started the whole dadgum thing. So you kind of know going in that that's the route it was going to be. Obviously, Facebook has morphed a billion times over. So is Instagram, for that matter.
Right.
But at the same time, though, if its origins are in something that was meant to compare you to other people, doom scrolling is the next step.
Right.
So, yeah, you kind of did. But also, you're not in charge of my actions.
True. Very true. The Nevada City Sheriff is scheduled to hold a news conference today to provide an update on the rescue efforts for 10 missing backcountry skiers near Castle Peak in Nevada, believed to be struck under an avalanche. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, my God. I didn't even hear about this.
I believe it happened. Was it either early yesterday? I think it happened early yesterday. So they've already been underneath this fallen avalanche for, overnight.
Are they saying that? Are they hearing noise? Do we know if they might be alive? We don't know anything. Gosh.
I know.
Team USA takes to the ice today. Oh, it's going down in Milan and will face Sweden in the quarterfinal of the men's tournament. Hockey. I love it. I love hockey.
Good. Enjoy it.
2:00 today. It'll be fun. And I mentioned this last hour, curling. I went to Texas Roadhouse yesterday, drank some beers, got sucked in immediately.
To curling?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a sport that is equal parts boring and compelling? You can't look away.
I love it.
It looks like it looks like it should be a bar sport. It really does. It looks like curling was something that was started like on a dare.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks ridiculous, but it's very hard to do from what I read up on.
Yep. 7:13 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We get Chris Meyer coming up on our next segment. Let me take one quick second to remind you about Industry Makes. IndustryMakes.org is their website. Who is Industry Makes? Well, basically everybody who's in industry, manufacturing, those plants up and down the river, the business that runs Louisiana, runs the nation, runs the world, the business that shouldn't say runs the world, keeps the world running, excuse me, from the employing your neighbors to the shoes on your feet, they make everything out there. There's a concerted effort to protest, to stand in the way, to try to take down industry at every turn. Where is the voice behind industry? That's Industry Makes. Learn more at industrymakes.org. Industrymakes.org. Let everybody else make noise. We'll make everything else. Hey. Oh, there he is.
Hey, Chris, we're going to come to you in about 2 minutes, okay? Okay, no problem. Chris Meyer, right? With an E. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's me.
I got home from producing, so this is how my day off went. Do new roads all day long, and then I worked LSU basketball last night. I got home at roughly 11:30. I was in bed for 1:45. Didn't fall asleep till a little bit after 2. So about an hour.
And you got a coach tonight?
No, I got news at Rotary at noon, and then I think I'm done for the day after that. I got to put together tomorrow's show.
Try to go to bed early tonight. I say try.
Yeah, right.
You should have did a guess today and took today off.
Couldn't do it. I got too much stuff I've got to cover. DC Current with Julia Letlow, Bill Cassidy, both next hour. Just this. I'm going to manage Mardi Gras a lot better in the future. But first of all, saying no to working LSU on Mardi Gras night. Let anybody else who had other obligations do it. Oh. 716 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Every so often we get caught up with the folks at the Baton Rouge Area Foundation. That would be Mr. Chris Meyer, who's on the phone right now. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning, Brian. I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing very well this morning. So much to cover. I don't know where to begin. You know what? I want to start with, y'all got a trip coming up to Denver, right?
We do.
All right, I want to dive into that in just a second, but the moment I heard Denver, I thought about Frontier Airlines. And the moment I thought about Frontier Airlines, I thought about the Monday's press club where the guy who built the Country Club of Louisiana says he's buying Spirit Airlines. Is the Baton Rouge Area Foundation going to do anything looking into that to try and get a little piece over here and not just New Orleans?
I mean, look, for somebody who's, a little bit tired of flying out of the Kenner Airport, I think we should do a lot to improve the Baton Rouge Airport. I think certainly having regional assets where people in the greater New Orleans, greater Baton Rouge region can get to major airlines that can fly direct. I think that's always a premium. I got to admit, I've never flown Spirit Airlines. I've heard some horror stories. So best of luck to see if we can improve that. They took away my Southwest Airlines where I could choose any seats, and now I've got to go through this whole picking a seat beforehand. It's like we've gone too corporate, Brian. We've gone way too corporate.
I understand. That's why I love flying. But I always say this, Chris, nothing sells the Baton Rouge Airport better than flying MSY. You go down there, the massive humanity that is the TSA line, it's a mess. So I would rather stay home and fly out of my own backyard.
Hey, amen. I've taken the pledge. We fly out of Baton Rouge anytime we can.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about this trip to Denver. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so look, we've been working, as you know, over the last year with leaders across the board on how we bring a better focus to early childhood education in Baton Rouge. It's something it's not just an economic development issue. It's a safety issue. It's really about the future of our community. And, as you know, we've talked about it on the show for a year. We've got a system that is terribly siloed, terribly disconnected. Families don't have clarity on what their options are. Programs that exist at the federal, state, and local level to try to help families afford high quality early childhood education, they're all sort of siloed and really don't work in concert together. And so what we've been looking at is with educators, with parents, with the school superintendent, the state superintendent's team, the mayor's team, how do we bring more coordination and a unified approach to early childhood education so every kid in our city could have access to high quality early learning, and every kid in our city could show up to kindergarten ready to learn day one. And unfortunately today, only about 40% of our kids, so 2 and 5, are showing up, ready day one in kindergarten. And that just starts so many kids behind. And so what we're looking at are communities that have, brought all their various funding streams from the public perspective together, where they have really coordinated and elevated the profession of educators in early learning. And they've really made it easy on families to be able to find a high quality early learning center, regardless of where they live, regardless of how much that family makes. And so Denver is one of these places, along with New Orleans, but sometimes you got to leave your own state to take a look at something else. Denver has really become a national model with its preschool partnership. And so that's something that we really want to go look and take leaders from the mayor's office, from the school system, and a range of really high quality providers in our community that have been working together for this last year. We're all going there to study how can we build a coordinating entity for early learning in our own community.
I would ask you what exactly Denver has, but until you make the trip, I guess we don't fully know. I will ask you this, though. You mentioned some of the stakeholders. Are they all on the trip? Like, who all's going?
Yeah. So, this is actually our second trip. We've gone there before with Superintendent Lamont Cole, and that was one of the things that inspired us to put together this founding committee for the new early learning coordinating entity in East Baton Rouge Parish. And something we've worked really hard over a year to study, to understand, and kind of put all the pieces together. So this is really kind of a culmination of that work as we've come together as a group to make recommendations that will really unify our resources, our support, and coordination across early learning. And so I'm excited because this trip will, like I said, it's about 24 people, really everybody from providers to parents, leadership from the school system, leadership in the mayor's office, all going to take a look at how the Denver Preschool Partnership has put it together. That's a community, Brian, where 80% of kids in the city are participating in the Denver Preschool Partnership sort of enterprise, which is made up of hundreds of independent, small businesses that are these early learning centers. It's made up of Head Start centers. It's made up of centers that are run by the school system. But the key is it's all unified, and so families have choice. There's public support for early learning in that community. They've actually passed a permanent sales tax that provides every family, regardless of what they make, and it's on a sliding scale. But basically, you can access whatever you want, regardless of what you make. And everyone in that system gets some kind of subsidy, again, on a sliding scale basis, but it really rewards families to choose higher quality options. And they've seen it in their results. They've had, now every year, more and more kids are showing up kindergarten ready, and they've been able to track that now over a decade and see the impacts all the way for kids now through early elementary school.
Chris Meyer from the Baton Rouge Area Foundation is our guest. When is the trip?
So the trip is next week.
Next week.
So I'm watching the temperatures. We just had a phenomenal Mardi Gras weather-wise. So I don't know why we didn't pick someplace like Miami, but Denver's where the action's been, and that's what the group voted on, and so we're really excited together.
That's awesome. The thing that I always look at when we look at trips like this is not where the trip is, or it's what you actually take home. And that's when the onus becomes on those who made the trip to make sure that, yeah, you gathered some information that's useful. Yeah, we've got something that's implementable from there. Are you able to put together any of those post-trip, like, I don't want to say bullet points, but like a template for what you're looking to gather and bring home?
Yeah, and so, look, over the last year, we built a lot of trust among these groups. A lot of folks that are early learning providers, these small business centers, are like, why does the Baton Rouge Area Foundation care about this? And my answer is very simple. I mean, this is the future of our community, and whether we can help kids and families access high quality early education and be ready for school. I mean, that is literally our future and the biggest return on investment we can make as a community. So we spent the year learning. We had folks from New Orleans. We took a visit there. We had folks come up from there. And so we really worked hard to build a model that's going to work for Baton Rouge. And this trip really is about kind of tying up loose ends, really testing the recommendations this group has put together. And so our hope and belief is coming out of this, we're going to be ready as a community to stand up a new entity who really will wake up every day thinking about the workforce, the access, the resources to support early learning in our community. I mean, if you just think about that, there is no one entity in our community today that wakes up and thinks every day about the 30,000 kids under the age of 5 and what their experiences are and how they're accessing early learning in whatever form that looks like. And this really will change that dynamic, because now we'll have a coordinated entity supported by our public partners in the school system and the mayor's office, supported obviously by philanthropy in the not-for-profit world, and supported by our business community, including those small business owners that really their margins are so tight in early learning, and really something to think about the workforce in early learning. This is a huge deal for our community, and I'm really proud of what this group has put together, and I'm hopeful these kind of final details will be ironed out as we come out of this trip to Denver.
One more on this before we move on to another topic, and that is when it comes to early childhood education, it's a battle on numerous fronts, right? It's you want to have children kindergarten ready so that the next generation of educational results are going to be positive, which means the next generation of workforce is going to be positive. But you also have the current generation of workforce, and therein you have a problem because the current generation of workforce, if they don't have buy-in on early childhood ed, they're not sending their kids to early childhood ed in whatever form or fashion it might be, which means they're keeping themselves out of the workforce. So we run into a chicken and egg situation between, I'll send my kids to early childhood ed if I'm going to get results. And then on the other hand, it's like, well, we don't have results until we have buy-in. It sounds to me like this trip is picking a chicken or an egg and saying, we're going to find your results so we can build the buy-in later.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I mean, we saw this in our city stats, which you've covered so well. We appreciate that. This really has been more of an affordability issue and an access issue. And so folks in Baton Rouge want access to high quality early learning, but we do have the problem of it's not affordable for many families. It's hard to find what you qualify for depending on your income level. It really kind of segregates you, unfortunately, into just Head Start or just an LA4 program. So we've got to change that. And there's been other communities that really say, where do you want to go? And then we'll figure out the funding on the back end. And that's what this is really going to help us figure out, is that other communities have figured out how to break those funding silos and those sort of government programs and changes the dynamic. But you're right, Brian, we're going to have to work on both levels, because we do also have to increase support for those providers that want to open a second center or want to hire more workforce. And right now the economics are really troubling. And so this is about a community-wide plan to address that.
Well, okay, so but within that, you said it yourself, though, it's the high quality that's unaffordable. That's the part that I'm talking about. You're not going to get buy-in until you have the high quality, and you have to mix high quality with affordable. We got to hit on one more topic before we get you out of here. Chris Meyer from the Baton Rouge Area Foundation is our guest. What's the latest on the lakes, man?
Yeah, so similarly, as we're coming to making huge strides in sort of the restoration of the University Lake system that's there adjacent to City Brooks Park, that's been the culmination of a decade of work to raise nearly $100 million to improve the water quality, the depth of the lakes, for flood mitigations, for ecological purposes, and really as this project, these phases are coming to a close. The big open question is, what about the amenities around the lakes? What about the bike paths? What about new restaurants and new coffee bars and opportunities to really take advantage of those in a safe and enjoyable way? And so we've been working with, despite what you might read in the newspapers, we've been working with BREC, our Parks and Rec division. We've been working with the state, the city, and lots of community members around creating a coordinated master plan and long-term governance plan for the lakes and for City Brooks Park. And why that's important is just like we talked about in early childhood education, there is no one entity that wakes up every day and only thinks about how to maximize the value and the quality of life that the lakes and City Brooks Park can create. City Brooks Park is one of 180 parks in the Parks and Rec system, which means it's not going to get the attention that it fully needs. And the lakes, after all of this investment, the original master plan had over $200 million worth of investment in other amenities that would go around the lakes as the sort of sediment settles and you can begin planting things. We don't have a plan for that right now. And so it's really important to us that this was a jumpstart for a longer-term governance model, a longer-term plan that can really unify the focus and resources on the lakes and the park system right there at City Brooks Park. So we kicked that off in a master plan way, and we're really excited to see if we can't come together just like we did in early childhood education over this next year with a plan that's going to maximize what should be Baton Rouge's Central Park.
And that is where we're going to have to leave it. We'll pick it up next time. He's Chris Meyer with the Baton Rouge Area Foundation. Always appreciate the time, man.
Absolutely. Stay warm, man. Yeah.
No problem with that here. It's 65 degrees. Here's news. All right. I have to figure out what I want to do for this last segment. How's he this morning? Yep. I'm going to come see him real quick.
So there's a bit in LRN and it's being talked about a lot. Well, you know that the 4-day school.
Yeah.
You can just banner about that, and I can fire it up and say you're if you want. We'll have to find a place to be able to record it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Or we can finally get to that gas city cup. Wait, we did get to the gas city cup.
Did we?
Oh, didn't you? Hold on.
Now a check on your drive from the top 107.3 traffic center.
Okay, can you put cuts 10, 11, 12 in today's folder? And I'll go across the hall to ESPN, and I'll do the wraparounds. Okay.
And you'll just drag them into the lawn?
Yep. Yeah, I'll drag them into to where it's 1 3.5 minute long thing. Cool. Although I don't know when I'm going to do that because I know at the top of the hour. We're going to take this segment to 47 instead of 50. How long do we have before we're back? Is there another spot before weather?
Brian. 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 I'm calling him in. Hey, Rodney, we'll be coming to you in like 30 seconds. Okay.
.737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Let me tell you about One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com. Spell it out, O-N-E, onebathandclosets.com. Hey, Brie Lynn, we have run into our first problem with our new bathroom. I got to be honest. I got to be honest. I got to be honest here. We called Danny and his team over at One Bath and Closets. 400-8005 was the number I called. We redid the master bath. We've now run into a problem.
A good problem?
The kids want to use it. The kids want to use the new shower because it is phenomenal.
It's fancy.
I know, but now I got to get Danny back out at some point to do the kids' bathroom so we can get them out of our bathroom. Like he did too good of a job,
it's
and
like
now
Christian are like, mom.
Right? And Christian are like, we ran into it twice over the holiday weekend. Daughter's in from college, and you're like, so twice over from Friday till yesterday. With I'm going to take a shower. Nope, James is in our bathroom. What the hell?
They're overtaking the bathroom.
I'm telling you. So looks like he did too good of a job. 400-8005 for One Bath and Closets. All right. Speaking of doing a good job, how's that Piku Lane exit looking? Rodney Mallett from DOTD joins us. Turns out it is opening up today. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Could not be better on this Wednesday morning. Give me the latest.
We're going to do an inspection this morning. A walkthrough just to ensure that everything is aligned properly and the striping was done properly and that it is safe for travel. And then by this afternoon, we'll have a new interchange on I-10 right here in Baton Rouge at Piku Lane.
Wow. I mean, this feels like it's forever in the making, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, that was a huge project, and it was done in conjunction with the city and their Move VR. And so, widening Piku, which was it has 45,000 cars a day, which I was kind of amazed by. That's higher than I thought.
Yeah.
And it was 2 lanes, one in each direction. Now it's 2 or 3 lanes, depending on where you are in each direction. We have a new wider bridge over I-10, and then it's going to be a diverging diamond. It's our second diverging diamond in the state, which is going to help with congestion, traffic flow, and make it a safer intersection. And so we also think that pretty sure all the models show that Seguin and Highland can benefit from this as well.
One would have to assume that because if you live closer to Pico and you currently get off at Seguin or Highland, you're not going to be getting off at Seguin or Highland. You're going to be going to your exit now. So I would imagine that would play a little bit. I would also imagine there might be some spillover all the way to Airline.
Well, that's a possibility as well. And as you know, sometimes if you go the long way, you can get where you're going quicker. So that might play a role too. So there's a lot to be seen what's going to happen. But one thing we do know is it is going to be very beneficial for our area, and it fits in well with the Baton Rouge overall transportation plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that area continues to grow. You know, Women's Hospital continues to grow, and other businesses and residents, neighborhoods in the area. So it's going to be a really good thing, and I'm really looking forward to using it myself face to face.
Women's Hospital was what I had in mind when I talked about spillover to Airline, because that's kind of a hub for employment right there. You got a lot of people rolling in and out of there. I'm sure a few people will find that beneficial. More than a few people will find that beneficial to make their personal commute a little bit more palatable. So walk me through the timeline for today. You said it's early afternoon for the inspection?
No, they're going to do the inspection this morning.
Oh, sweet.
And we're telling everybody early afternoon, just in case they have to do some realigning of the striping, or if there's some kind of erosion or something that they have to. It's going to be anything that, I'd say this, I don't want to jinx it, but we're pretty sure that anything that they find today in the inspection is going to be something they can fix on site.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be delayed, and it looks like by noon for sure.
How does this affect other projects going on? Because, from a layperson standpoint, now that Pico Lane is done, are we able to refocus efforts elsewhere?
That's going to be a matter of funding and timing.
Okay.
We still have some major projects going on. We have the Intracoastal Waterway over in Bridge over in Port Allen.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a big project. We're continuing to move forward with the LA 415 connector, also in West Baton Rouge. The I-10 widening project, I don't know if you've noticed, but they've expanded their footprint as they continue to improve that. So we're seeing a lot of big improvement projects in the Baton Rouge area.
Got Rodney Mallett from DOTD with us. Rodney, I'm glad you brought up the I-10 widening project. I've been getting, and I'm not asking you for an answer today. I'm asking you for a go find this one out today. So what I don't know is a perfectly acceptable answer. I'm getting a lot of people contacting me about lighting. That stretch from, where, over the lakes where it is right now, that stretch is very, very poorly lit. And there's another stretch from the flyover to Essen Lane. If you're on 12 eastbound, the flyover all the way out to Essen, it's like the lighting never caught up with the improvements. Is there something in the works that we're not knowing about publicly yet?
Well, the lighting part of the interstate system is done by the city or the parish. They're the ones who are in charge of lighting. They put it in.
Okay.
We put it in, and it comes. They're in charge of keeping up with it. But there's millions of miles of interstate that are not lit. So it can be problematic. But let me tell you about what the state does. So, like, in the footprint of the actual widening project, we did turn those lights off. So we are taking out the old lighting system, and we're putting in a new lighting system when this project is completed. And so you're seeing that area, that is us. We did take the lights out for that. But the contractor did put down temporary striping.
Mm-hmm.
I've driven through there at night because we've been getting those complaints as well. It's not as good as permanent striping for sure. But, if you have your headlights on and you're paying attention, you can pretty much see through that area. But let me tell you this too, real quick. I know I'm taking up a lot of your time.
No, you're good.
We have a $40 million statewide project. We're going to restripe interstates across the state. We've had that project go to bid for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't get started, you have to have a certain length of time where the temperatures are over 50 degrees and you're not getting any rain. That usually starts to occur in March. So that's when we're going to kick that off.
Awesome. Very good stuff. We got 3 minutes left with Rodney Mallett from DOTD. Tell us about Washington Street exit that the process begins to shut that down today.
That's right. You're not going to be able to use the Washington Street exit anymore after today. They're going to close it while they restripe it and put up the sign. And that should be completed by the end of the month, depending on weather. And then, so you're going to have all the striping, all the signage, and the exit will be closed officially. Right now, it's just closed for the striping and the signs to be erected. But essentially, you're not going to be using Washington Street exit anymore. So if you're coming from the west and you need to go to Laurie Burgess, Washington Street, or any of those areas down there, you would take the Highland Nicholson exit.
Yep.
And if you're coming down from the airport on 110, then you'll take the Terrace Street.
Yeah, which is huge when that was added. But until Washington Street is closed, this is going to be a big, big win as far as people making dangerous lane changes, to be sure. So what does the closure process look like? Got about a minute and a half there. I mean, is it you'll have to like physically tear things down, right?
No, that's going to occur when we with the widening project.
Okay.
So basically, it's going to be striped, barricaded, and the signs are going to be up to let you know that this lane is ending. And so, that's the most important aspect of this whole thing is when we put it out to bid, the contractor had 90 days to get all his equipment and everything and to get started on the project, but he had to get the signs made and the parts fabricated, and that took a little longer. So their contract isn't even up till mid-March, and they've just been waiting for their parts to come in and the weather to cooperate, and then they're going to start this week.
Love it. Love to hear it. Improvements across the board. He is Rodney Mallett with DOTD. We always appreciate the time, sir. Thank you so much.
Anytime, Brian. Call me, man.
Will do. Rodney Mallett with DOTD. We got a break coming up in just a minute. After that break, we're going to talk Opera Louisiana. Debra Todd's going to join us. They've got along with the head of the opera, if I'm not mistaken, they've got a fundraiser coming up it's actually going on right now. We'll sing and swing action for Opera Louisiana on the way. Before we hit our Your Money Now segment, I do need to remind you about 180 Pros. Of course, we're broadcasting live from the 180 Pros studio. Not your IT provider, your IT partner. It means so many different things. The biggest one to me, actually, from what I hear from people in the business, the people who get the receipts, is the simplified billing. But for me, it's the same day response time. So, like, if you're in accounts payable or whatever, and you see that simplified billing, and you know what a difference it makes in your world when it comes to your bottom line, absolutely. But for me, I tell you, if I call somebody and I get someone locally, then that is the world of difference to keep your business up and running, and that's their mission. Your success is their success. Learn more at 180pros.com. Is that Debra or? Okay. Please get the stuff. He has her on the phone.
Yeah.
She's supposed to call 408. She's supposed to call a hotline here, so that we have them both on, or they're both on right now.
We're getting them both on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get the proper spelling of his name. Yeah, just ask me.
Hey, so sorry, we were on the air just a minute ago. Just get the proper spelling of your name to make sure we have it. Got it. Perfect. Okay. And when I see Debra call in, I'm going to patch her through. Okay. All right. Hang on. How are we going to do that? That sounds stupid.
Good job. Other people later can look. Other people later. Other people. Always free. Thank you so much. Give me a 30-second warning.
Okay.
This Tuesday at 8 p.m., Talk 107.3 has complete coverage of the 2026
Talk 107.3.
Hear President Trump's address and the Democrat Party
Talk
response.
107.3.
Live reporting from ABC News Radio, the State of the Union, live on Talk 107.3.
Yes, I have him already. I'm gonna drop you on hold. We'll come to you in like 2-ish minutes, okay? No problem.
This report comes to you from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. Believe Window. Experience quality. Answer. BelievWindow.com.
Brian!
I'm a minute 20 in, so.
Not to sound stupid, but they come out of one pod?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Paul Groves.
Groves.
Groves. Groves. Paul Groves. And Debra Todd.
Yep. 752 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. It is about time to sing and swing, y'all. We're talking Opera, Louisiana, and we're joined by Paul Groves and Debra Todd. Good morning. How is everyone this morning?
We're doing well.
Glad to have you both on. All right. So Paul, we're going to start with you. Tell us about Sing and Swing, what it is, and how folks can get involved.
Well, it's our big donor event for Opera Louisiana. I'm the general director, and it's this Saturday night, the 21st, at the Crown Plaza in the Grand Ballroom. And you can get tickets by going to operalouisiana.com. And it's a wonderful event. I've been general director now for a year and a half, and last year was my first year. And it's such an amazing event with local celebrities singing. We have the incredible Debra Todd this year, so we're really excited. And she's singing this great 80s song, very iconic song for the 80s that she's doing with a couple of backup singers from my opera studio at LSU. And it's a fantastic event with auction items, and we have some amazing live auction items like tickets to the Metropolitan Opera and going out with the cast afterwards for the next fall, and tickets to the Houston Opera. And also, I'm from South Louisiana, so we have some amazing duck hunts, fishing trips, all kind of incredible auction items that we're putting together. So it's a great event. It's lots of fun, lots of merriment. We have a little VIP before from 6 to 7 p.m. a little VIP event if you buy the VIP tickets, where I'll be singing some opera tunes along with some of my students. So it's just an amazing event. We're really excited that Debra's joining us singing this year.
Oh, so that brings me over to Debra Todd. Debra, good morning. And I'm going to ask, how'd you get roped into this? Or I know what your passion has been for Opera Louisiana for a long time, but you're getting on stage.
Yeah. Well, I was one of the founding board members of Opera Louisiana, and I've been asked for many years to do this, and I've always declined, but for some reason I decided to do it this year. I'm looking forward to it. We also have participating Ralph Bender, who everybody knows, and Anna Sardi, who's a big opera enthusiast, and her son Pablo Asaza, and Pablo's wife will be entertaining, and we're looking forward to raising a lot of money for Opera Louisiana. We put on a youth opera program, which is what a lot of this money will fund, along with our major performance, Madame Butterfly, coming up in April. But we have entertained more than 40,000 children in this community, Brian, and introduced them to music and art, fine arts, and costumes and interesting stories. So we have a lot to contribute to the community, and that's why we have this fundraiser every year to get the much needed funds for our activities. Let me add, please. Bob Courtney was the winner last year, and he will. The winner always returns the following year for a swan song, and he will be coming back with his Bobettes, as he calls his backup singers. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you'll recognize a lot of people if you attend. There's individual tickets on sale as well as tables of 10. So all that information is available at operalouisiana.com.
operalouisiana.com is the website. And yeah, donations are up and running. Voting is actually up and running right now already. So, I mean, Debra, you're going to wipe the floor with these other competitors?
I'm going to try. Everyone who knows me, please go to the website and log in. You win by raising the most money, not by having any voice talent. So I know Dickie Brennan participated. A lot of very famous people have done this before, and they didn't necessarily have voice talent, but they had a lot of friends who were very generous to us, and again help us keep our beautiful opera company going.
Sing and Swing, one of the bigger, or the biggest, I should say, fundraising effort for Opera Louisiana. Want to, if we could, go back to you for just a second, Paul. Tell me a little bit about opera, or tell the audience a little bit about Opera Louisiana. Those who have never taken part, those never gone out to see a performance. How is it different from operas elsewhere?
Well, it's our local opera company, which was started by with Debra's help and a lot of other help, Amanda Martin and quite a few other people. And it was started by Robert Grayson, who teaches at LSU. And he was my voice teacher at LSU when I got there in the early 80s. And he named it Opera Louisiana, which was a great idea because it's really an outreach opera. It's not specific to Baton Rouge, even though Baton Rouge is its home base. Mm-hmm. So we're planning on doing operas in different communities, maybe even going over to Southwest Louisiana and sharing some of the great art form that I love with the rest of the state. But it's an amazing organization, and I've been very excited to be with it for a year and a half now. And I started, I've been a professional opera singer for 40 years, and I had 35 years every year at the Metropolitan Opera. But I started with the Baton Rouge Opera, which mm-hmm. was really Opera Louisiana's previous name. And, just wanted to give back to the community and the state that I love and the art form that I love and keep it going in Louisiana.
And I want to pick up that with Debra real quick. We got about a minute and a half left. Debra, I want to ask you, I know you put your passion into the arts here in Baton Rouge a good bit. Why is that the draw for you? Because I think your answer to this is going to be important to the overall story.
Well, I was exposed to music at a young age, and I really believe that being involved with music, especially at a young age, can shape you for a successful life, because it just opens up your horizons. We learn the basics in school, but when I went to school, we had music in schools, and we don't have that anymore. Right. So I think being exposed to symphonic music, operatic music, any kind of music, it's good for the soul. It's good for the mind. And again, it will help shape children in a positive way. And that's what we strive to do at Opera Louisiana.
OperaLouisiana.com is the website. Sing and Swing coming up this Saturday night at Crown Plaza, but donations are open right now at OperaLouisiana.com. Debra, Paul, appreciate a couple minutes.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We got 8 o'clock. We got the news breathing right down our necks. Got a jam-packed next hour. It'll start off with Senator Bill Cassidy, then State Senator Rick Edmonds, and then Congresswoman Julia Letlow, all coming your way. Oh, man, it's going to be a busy hour. Let's hit news right here. It's 8 o'clock at Talk 107.3.
Is he here? No, he's calling. I'll call him. Okay. We got Cassidy? Yeah. When? Talk 107.3. Talk 107.3. Hey, Bill, good morning. We're going to come to you in just a bit, okay?
That would separate its New York Knicks business from its New York Rangers business. New York Knicks company is expected to include the Knicks and Westchester Knicks. New York Rangers company is expected to include the Rangers and Hartford Wildpack. The company has not set a timetable for if and when it could happen. Costco is cracking down on its return policies. For a long time, members of the Warehouse Club were able to return nearly anything to casino clothing. Now they're requiring extra approval privileges for some returns, and managers are even checking to see how often customers are returning things. The complaint says fraudulent
Good morning, y'all. If y'all still tuning in on Facebook, it's been an insane morning. It's been an insane morning. Busy morning, but a little insane. Poor Brian's been running the speed. Been running crazy. So have I. Coffee is needed. So we're not doing this day?
No, I'm sorry. I booked this from the route yesterday.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
And we had a lot in this day in history, too.
And I literally pulled it up just now. So that's good.
806 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, Breland producing. Normally, this is the time where we have this day in history, but sometimes we'll bump that if we have a guest lined up like Senator Bill Cassidy. We'll get to him in just a quick second. Do want to tell you, though, it was on this day in 1967 that Jim Garrison announced his JFK assassination investigation. Also, February 18th is Irma Thomas's birthday. So, joining us now, we got Senator Bill Cassidy on the hotline. How are you, sir?
I am doing really well, Brian Haldane. Good morning to you and good morning to everybody.
Glad to have you on this morning. We had a lot of ground to cover. Can we start with what you're working on right now in D.C.?
Yeah, that sounds great. Trying to lower the cost of prescription drugs. President Trump's healthcare team came to me about 3 weeks ago. The president's got this idea, and they need somebody to write it. So they came to me to see if I could help write it. So we're looking on how, and by the way, he just signed into law a bill that I helped negotiate as committee chair to lower healthcare costs. Pharmaceutical costs. But there's no silver bullet for drug costs. There's silver buckshot. So you boom, 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 and you gradually bring it down. So he just signed that into law. He asked me to help him on something else. So that's kind of what I'm texting back and forth with my team about.
Explain the difference with silver buckshot would hit, because when you talk about the prescription drug world, it's not just the drug makers. There's pharmacy benefit managers along the way. There's a lot of hurdles.
There are a lot of hurdles. So the law the president just signed into law about 2-3 weeks ago now addresses the pharmacy benefit managers, the middlemen that kind of drive up the cost between buying it from the pharmaceutical company and you buying it from the pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're squeezing that down and making sure that any savings they get actually come back to the person who's paying the bill and not going into the pocket of the PBM. That's one thing. A year in Trump's first term, he passed my bill to get rid of gag clauses. In that one, the PBM would tell the pharmacy that if you tell the patient it's cheaper to pay cash than to pay their deductible, then we're going to cancel your contract. It was gagging the pharmacist from telling the patient what was in their best interest. So that's now eliminated. The president did that in kind of in a Roosevelt Room ceremony in which I was there and others were there and worked on the law. So that helps lower drug costs. Now the president's got the idea of doing something where it's guaranteed that the U.S. consumer does not pay more than they're charging people in other countries. And they need kind of, how do you write it into law? He's got the concept, but how do you write it into the law? And that's why they came to me. So that goes, that goes at the pharmaceutical companies, if you will, not at the PBM and not at the pharmacy counter. So it's one more way to touch. How do we lower drug costs for Americans?
Senator Bill Cassidy is our guest. We got him for another roughly 7 minutes. Senator, can we talk campaign a little bit? I know we got a lot of ground to cover, but I would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about, how things are going out there on the road, trying to because we have a shortened window here. We have closed primaries here, so there's going to be a lot of this campaign or campaigning this year looking different than it has in the past.
Totally. So first, the primary is May 16th, and it's a closed primary system. The governor decided to not allow people of one party to vote in the primary of another. So you can only vote in the Republican primary if you're either Republican or no party. Now, there's lots of people who registered as Democrats when they were 18, and they've been voting Republican for a while. So they're not going to be able to vote unless they change to Republican or no party. It's very easy. Just Google GEAUX vote, go vote, and it will take you to the Secretary of State's website. And in 3 minutes, you can change your party registration. Very easily done. If you don't do it, you may not be able to vote for the candidate of your choice. By the way, if you're voting for someone besides Bill Cassidy, don't do it. Anyway,
it is good. Yeah, good.
That's what you got to do if you want to be out there. And it's going to be May 16th, and which is like 89 days from now. So you got to hustle.
All right, so how is that sounding on the roads? How's that standing on the campaign trail? Because I feel like something this big is going to take us time to get adapted to, and yet here we are with a monumental election on our hands for the first time out.
So we're pushing it hard. The Secretary of State, Nancy Landry, is pushing it hard and trying to let people know. Again, there's people who register to be Democrat when they're 18, and they've been voting Republican for a while. There's other people who say, frankly, the Republican who wins that primary is going to be our next senator. And they want to have a voice. And your vote is your voice. And unless you're no party or Republican, you have no voice in who our next senator is. That's just reality. You can look at the fellows who registered as Democrats, and nice people, I'm sure, but no base, no political party, no political organization, no fundraising, no name recognition. They're just not going to be our next senator.
Right.
So if you want to have a voice in who our next senator is, that's your vote. And your vote says under the current system, you must be either Republican or no party.
You mentioned fundraising right there. I don't normally dive down into those numbers, but you've had a pretty good run here between right before Washington Mardi Gras, Senator Thune came to town, and you punched up a pretty big number in D.C. For Washington Mardi Gras.
Yeah, we've continued to punch up a good number. If you take everything that we're raising, I think it was about 1.4 million so far. And really, people also vote with their pocketbook. If somebody is supporting you financially, that means they believe in what you've done, and what you've done and what you're going to do. I have delivered for Louisiana. I tell people, if you want a conservative who's pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-oil and gas, and who's delivered for Louisiana, I'm your choice. For example, the $13.5 billion I've gotten in infrastructure for our state, bridges and roads and ports and flood mitigation, creating a lot of good jobs in Louisiana. The latest is over $1.3 billion the Trump administration is releasing to make sure that everyone has access to high-speed, affordable internet. Mm-hmm. And that'll be Louisiana companies and Louisiana workers putting down fiber optic to make sure that everyone in our state is participating in today's modern economy. And by the way, on a per capita basis, we probably got more than almost any other state for this internet thing, and partly because I was at the table. Yeah. And so when you're at the table pushing, it works. By the way, both my opponents either criticized me or voted against that $13.5 billion I brought to the state. Think about that. People are criticizing over $6 billion for roads and bridges, $500 million for new sewer and water systems, money for hundreds of millions of dollars for making sure that people don't flood again, hundreds of millions of dollars for rebuilding our coastline and making sure that we don't flood on the coastline. So it'll be a choice. You want somebody who's delivering or somebody who's criticizing those who deliver.
We got about 45 seconds left with Senator Bill Cassidy. I want to talk to you about time management here because, well, quite frankly, D.C. is a mess. So how do you manage holding the current seat while getting home to do a little grassroots?
You got to work hard, man. But, I was a doctor for 25 years in the charity hospital system. And I was doing research. I was teaching medical students and I was seeing patients. And by the way, I was spending time with family. So I am geared. I am wired just like you are, like everybody else. How do I get more time out of my schedule? I'm a little bit more mellow now. I love taking walks with my wife. But still, Brian Haldane, I see you all over the place. I saw you at DC Mardi Gras. So you and I are wired the same, and everybody listening that's driving to work wired the same.
I honestly thought when you referenced being a doctor, you were going to make a gastroenterology / Congress joke. I know it was there waiting, but and meanwhile, we're straight up out of time today. We're going to be talking plenty throughout the campaign. Always appreciate a couple minutes.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. All right, Edmonds is up next.
Hey, I was just about to call you. Okay, we'll come to you in about 2 minutes. I'm gonna put you on hold. Okay.
Now a check on your drive from the Talk 1073 Traffic Center. This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Get a jump on your spring to-dos at Lowe's. Get 4 bags of State Green 2 cubic foot mulch for just $10 and 3 bags of Turbo Pro 3/4 cubic foot garden soil for just $10 too. Now when you're doing units on supply while supplies last, selection varies by location. This report comes to you from
You still got time?
Traffic Center.
Actually, no, you don't. We're coming back in. Yep.
$817 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 rolling right along as well. We told you this would be a busy hour, and it will be a busy hour. Coming up in our next segment, 5th District Congresswoman Julia Letlow, who is running against Senator Bill Cassidy. Coming up right now, though, someone seeking that 5th District Congress seat as Julia Letlow moves forward is State Senator Rick Edmonds. He's on the hotline right now. How are you, sir? Dropping back on hold. Try this again. Senator Edmonds, we got you. Tell you what, let's drop him back on hold. Pick up. That sounded a lot like he just dropped. All right. Yeah, I think he dropped, huh? Or is he there? Okay, then go ahead and hang up so you can call it right back. While I have just a moment, let me remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. LandmarkBankLA.com. Community bank since 1897. Do you know how hard it is to stick to that mission for this period of years? Look, if you're in business that long, you're doing a good job. And when you do a good job, obviously the want is to grow, to be bigger and better every day. Well, they get better every day, but they don't get bigger every single day. They are in a select number of communities around the Baton Rouge area. If you're in Bruley, Denham, Zachary, you'll find them. In fact, go to landmarkbankla.com, hit the About Us tab, find the locations there, because remaining a community bank has been an important pillar in their success. And oh, by the way, your success, should you choose to use them as your banker. Not just a bank, a banker. Learn more at landmarkbankla.com. All right, now we are reconnected with State Senator Rick Edmonds. He's on with us. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning. What's up?
Oh, man, it's just a busy Ash Wednesday. I mean, we're just come out of Mardi Gras. We thought we took a day off yesterday. No, sir, we're just doubling down today. So
that's what happens, man. You guys got to keep rolling. We're all about that.
Yeah. No, it says there's no rest nor relaxation. All right, I've got a lot of ground to cover with you here. I want to start off on this front. What made you want to dive into the 5th congressional district race?
Well, I tell you, last year when we were watching what was going on, first of all, I love serving in the Senate and the House. Has been my great honor to start in the 11th year. I know it's hard to believe, Brian, that we were on, I think we were on 11 years ago in the summer. But, it's something I've always dreamed about. It's I think sometimes in life you start very, very early. And I dreamed probably when I was 14, 15 years old about serving in Louisiana or serving in Congress. And it's just a dream come true to be able to have an opportunity to do it. And I know that sounds like a fairy tale story, but honestly, you asked me a straight question, and it really is a straight up answer. That's the first thing, is that was a dream since I've been very young.
Got a jacked up district you're running in here, sir. We're kind of in the heel of the mini boot, as it were. It runs up to Monroe, then over to Washington Parish, and with us kind of in the corner right there. Talk to me a little bit about how the shape of the district is going to affect your ground game.
Well, this redistricting changed this map up significantly, is what you're mentioning.
Yeah.
The number 5 was considered more of a Monroe district for a long period of time. I know Dr. Ralph Abraham served there and some others, and but this last go put a significant piece of the voting populace from the Feliciana South, and so it really changed the dynamics of the entirety of the race. So when you look at it, there's a piece of Ascension Parish down around Prairieville, a big piece of East Baton Rouge Parish, which would be a lot of the St. George area, a lot of the central area. Then you get almost all of Livingston Parish. And then, as you mentioned, you move over on that Tangy side. That's about Hammond, southeastern up to Bogalusa. So it's a really large piece now of the voting populace. And then it swings up and you catch some of the Felicianas and moves its way, as you're talking about, the Florida parishes, moves itself up through about Winnsboro, for those that are kind of following along, tracing that map up. A lot of farmland, agricultural areas in there. And then, of course, it goes as far north above Monroe to Bastrop. So you're right. It is it's a large district geographically, but very interesting district. A lot of different dynamics because people say, well, you got Northeast Louisiana, maybe significantly different than some of the southern point. So, a little challenge geographically, but great people everywhere. I've had the privilege of being around them a long time and look forward to getting back some old friendships going and see if we can get this thing won.
State Senator Rick Edmonds is our guest. He's running for Congress in the 5th congressional district. Senator Edmonds, along with being a wide swath geographically, that means needs-wise, it's going to be different across the board too. What are you learning about the folks in the different parts of Louisiana and what's important to them?
Well, I tell you what, when you look at the dynamics of this thing, as I've mentioned, you do have a pretty good farming community that's very agrarian in that Feliciana up through about south of Monroe, even into Bastrop. I grew up in Shreveport. I moved to Baton Rouge in '88, but I grew up in Shreveport. And if you've ever been around that was the Red River instead of Mississippi River. You're talking about a lot of cotton and soybeans and farmers a lot of legacy farmers that have lived their whole lives with their fathers and grandfathers, great-grandfathers. So that's that piece. Then when you get this Baton Rouge metro area down here, I think we all know one of the growingest areas in the South. We have growth going all the way from the Mississippi River all the way to the Mississippi state line. The North Shore, although we don't have that, but still, we're just talking about population growth. Hammond's growing. Livingston Parish has been exploding. Prairieville in that area, phenomenal growth and schools coming in. Man, it's a really, Brian, it's a really cool district if you think about it, because you get a lot of different fields for a lot of different people. I'm excited about it.
We got State Senator Rick Edmonds on with us, talking about running in the 5th congressional district. I just talked to Senator Cassidy in the last segment about the how close primaries are going to make things different. On your end, I mean, it's going to jam up everybody who's currently serving, because we're going to have a state legislative session smack dab in the middle of trying to campaign over here. How do you plan on approaching that?
Well, first priority is the session, no question. I've got some great bills we're running, a lot of work to do. I love the session. It's the funnest part of the year. It is a challenge that you've got to you know, you got a lot of night work to do. You got a lot of weekend hustle. But my first priority is to my senatorial district and to my chairmanship of education, which I love getting to do what I get to do, Brian. I've told you that before. So, hey, it's the fun time. I mean, you just got to gear it up. That means probably another 2 or 3 Diet Cokes to get it done.
we go coffee or Red Bull in this house. So I need to introduce you to the Celsius or something. State Senator Rick Edmonds is our guest. All right. One of the things that we look at when we look at candidates to represent Louisiana, at least one of the things that I look at is specialty. For example, Congresswoman Julia Letlow, she's got an education background. We call that her specialty. Senator Bill Cassidy, he just talked about pharmaceutical drugs. He's a doctor. That's his specialty. What is Rick Edmonds' specialty?
People, no question. I've spent my whole life with people as a longtime pastor and been involved in, you know, childcare and schools my whole life. Now in the legislature, I have been cast in for 10 years in the budgetary process of creating where we really think funds need to go. And what that has helped me be able to do is to really learn and hone in on the skills of working together to get things done. And over this past 10 years, we have had some phenomenal policies that we've been able to put in place. I just think I'm geared for that for Washington, to be able to get behind the scenes. Some people like to throw grenades at everything. That's just kind of the way. I don't do that. I want to work with people to try to figure out how we can get something accomplished. You mentioned education. I mean, can you even think in your mind, just for a moment, that we've advanced the last 10 years as high as we have now come in 10 years? It is phenomenal where we are. We're not where we want to be, but we're not 50 anymore. And so I think those people skills that I've worked with, whether it's in the political world or it's in the church world or the business or school world, I just think it identifies me as the guy that can get things done.
You talk about business for just a second. Last time I saw you was 1 week ago today. We were at the Louisiana Association of Business and Industries annual meeting. They've dubbed you as a guardian of small business in the past, giving you that award. When you look at the 5th Congressional District, whether it's farming, whether it's whatever it might be, small business is the backbone of this district. How do you plan on making sure that agenda advances?
Well, you have to have a big ear, and you have to have I think you just got to have a framework of how you grew up. And, you know, I grew up watching my dad, who was my hero, just a great guy. I wish he was still here with me. Man, he was a factory worker with nothing. My grandparents never owned a car. And my grandfather never had a driver's license. To my knowledge, the only time I saw them in the back seat of a car was going to the grocery store or the doctor. My dad had to come to town to get a job in a factory and work for 27 and a half years. And while he did that, along the way, he started his own business called Louisiana Fence Company. So as a kid, I grew up watching the small business world. My mother kept the books. My dad did all the sales. He ran one of my uncles got in and started being a construction kind of guy to put up fences. So I watched that small business world. And it's a hand in glove every day. It is hold on. Sometimes you don't have enough. You're not going to make it. I mean, you're by the thread. You're trying to. All of that, I think, has prepared me to understand when a small business owner looks up and says, "Man, I got to have some help." Well, I look up and say, "I think I know what you're talking about. Tell me a little bit more." And I think I've been able to engage with the populace that way. My friends, my co-workers, and people that I know in my district across the board. And then put that into place. And sometimes legislation is necessary to help them. And I've done that with real estate agents. I've done that with small business owners. I feel like I've done that over in the school business, in the public and non-public environment, that you have to understand where people really are at the moment and listen to them and then try to help them. Because that's what you're there to do, is to serve the people. And if you're not doing that, listen, you're just not doing the job.
I very intentionally left out pre-filed legislation for this interview because this is about the campaign. We're gonna have to get you back on in very short order to talk about what you're gonna be working on in the legislative session. I know you filed one bill already that really, really, really piques my interest, but that's gonna have to wait till a later time because we're just straight up out of time for today. State Senator Rick Edmonds running in the 5th Congressional District, looking to take the seat currently held by Julia Letlow. Senator Edmonds, always appreciate the time, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, man, stay off the Red Bull as much as you can.
Later on. We got news,
See ya.
traffic, weather coming your way in just a minute. Do need to remind you about the folks over at Methearns. You'll find them downtown on 3rd Street. You'll find them in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. You will find them Kenilworth, just west of Kenilworth, actually, is where you will find Methearns. Mardi Gras is in the rear view mirror. Now it's time to start talking about tailgating, y'all. LSU baseball, LSU softball, they are both upon us. Didn't even realize LSU softball's already played 12 games. My word. Baseball's in full swing after their first full weekend as well. In fact, 1 p.m. is your first pitch for LSU versus Nichols. So if you're swinging by the box, swing on by Methearns in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center. Grab yourself a couple cold ones, maybe a little bite to eat on the way to the game. It's Methearns. ABC News coming your way. Local news, traffic, weather. Congresswoman Julia Letlow next.
No, I couldn't hear him on the hotline for whatever reason. Good morning.
I did good. In today's folder under 4-day. And it's like 3.5 minutes long. So if you got to balance any of it out, you want to back time it with music or whatever, either a longer bumper on the front end or whatever on the back end, you're more than welcome to.
Good morning. Hey, hope you're doing well. Is it cold up there? Oh, you're back down. Okay. Okay, cool deal. We'll be coming to you in like 2 minutes, okay? Okay.
Facebook, I'm going to be bouncing after we talk with Congresswoman Letlow. I'm going to get out of here so that I can get to church for 9 a.m. because it is Ash Wednesday. So we'll have a pre-recorded segment in the last segment. If I can get my text to stop blowing the hell up. Oh, good luck in me convincing anybody that wasn't orchestrated. Well, I mean, our spots are loaded like by someone else. We don't do that ourselves. The log is the log. The commercials are the commercials. All right. (8:37) Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Busy hour promised, busy hour delivered. We're not stopping anytime, y'all. Well, we're going to slow it down significantly after this, but we hit full speed with Congresswoman Julia Letlow. It's time for DC Current. And we welcome Congresswoman Letlow back. How are you this morning?
Hey, Brian, I'm doing well. I'm back home, so I'm happy.
Okay. All right. Well, wait, you're back home. I mean, we're done. Everything in Washington's good now?
No, not at all. But we're on a recess week back home so we can visit with our constituents and listen to their concerns. So that's my happy place.
This is and it's an important part of the discussion here because this goes back to the discussion about the partial government shutdown and Homeland Security and whatnot. The fact that y'all are on recess was supposed to play into that whole discussion.
Yeah, exactly. But it is so frustrating to me as an appropriator, Brian. But the Department of Homeland Security is currently without new funding, and we did our part. We passed our appropriations bills this year, which was a huge accomplishment. I know I've touted that many times on your show, but Democrats chose to withhold funding for DHS over President Trump's immigration enforcement efforts. And, you know, the crazy thing is that immigration enforcement is going to continue because we provided extra funding for deportation efforts in the Big Beautiful Bill. So that is not impacted. So it blows my mind why they are shutting down the government for this. But agencies like FEMA and TSA are currently operating with only essential employees. And those are the agencies that we really need to be at full operation right now. So, Brian, it's shameful that Washington Democrats are putting the country and many federal employees through this again. And especially, Brian, when my home region of North Louisiana is recovering from a severe ice storm and waiting on FEMA to help us clean up the damage that was left behind. So I want everybody to know, though, that FEMA has some funding in reserve, but this is definitely stretching the agency thin and leaving them poorly equipped to respond to more severe weather events. So it's just a bad scenario all the way around.
Congresswoman Letlow, let's talk about that storm because we are still in the aftermath of it and probably will be for a while as far as recovery efforts are concerned. But I've always found it interesting that what is Congress's role in something like this, because you do represent the district, but at the same time, though, like how much of it makes its way to your office, how much of it is local, how much of it is, for the folks in the state capitol, what's your, as a Congresswoman, what is your role in recovery efforts after a disaster?
It's definitely my role to make sure that FEMA comes in and does its job. And so you're right. While the ice has melted and Northeast Louisiana communities continue to pick up the pieces from the storm, it's a matter of all of local, state, and federal agencies working together. Governor Landry has requested a major disaster declaration from FEMA. So this means that the federal government comes in and reimburses communities for cleanup. And that's really where I come in and continue to push for that disaster declaration to be in place and encourage the administration to do so. The damage was bad enough, Brian, to warrant a major disaster. So I'm advocating with the Trump administration to go ahead and grant this aid. My local officials tell me that they absolutely need it. I'm actually headed up there today to go meet with more of them about how we can work together to get everything cleaned up. Because it's so important that we're there for them in times of trouble. We know what it feels like down in South Louisiana when a hurricane hits. I was up telling a group the other day that this was like a hurricane for Northeast Louisiana, all those power lines coming down.
Yep.
And so we actually wrote a letter recently encouraging the administration to harden the grid. We need those power lines buried like we were promised years and years ago with the infrastructure bill. So I'm going to be continuing to advocate for that as well.
Okay.
So anyway, it's a mess, but we're working on it.
Oh, you're kind of reading my notes here and getting ahead of me because that's where I was
sorry.
going. I know I was going to the power lines next because one of the things that, in fact, I just got done talking to State Senator Rick Edmonds, who's looking for your gig right now, is one of the things that is interesting about the 5th District is that it covers so much land with so many different needs. But when you see an ice storm roll through like this, we can very easily be one with Monroe because we know what it's like to have power lines knocked down. We know what it's like to, look at our home and be like, well, we didn't sustain any damage, but we're going to be without power for a week and a half. That's completely different when the temperature's, below freezing for a week and a half. So walk me through a little bit about the impetus behind writing this letter and really how far behind the federal government is in working on this.
Right. Well, lives are at stake when people are in their houses freezing. I think about especially the elderly who they can't just walk outside and go ask for help. So this is a big event. And, advocates of President Biden's big infrastructure bill, they talked a big game of burying power lines. Well, where were those buried power lines during this storm that we just endured? It would have been so incredibly helpful for people to not have an outage for over a week, Brian. This was personal to me. My parents are getting on up there in age, and I was sharing this story about my dad having to walk a mile up a hill to go to a neighbor's house just to try to charge a cell phone in case they had an emergency, my mom and dad, and they're getting on up there in age. So, we were promised a lot with infrastructure. I would like to see that come all the way through. It's why I didn't vote for the infrastructure bill, Brian, because I was worried that money would not make its way where it was supposed to go. And we're seeing it play out right here in Louisiana.
Talk with Congresswoman Julia Letlow. This is, of course, DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. You can learn more about what the state's Chamber of Commerce does for you and your business at labi.org. While you're there, check out the 26th annual report. I got to pick mine up last week. A lot of really good stuff inside it. Congresswoman Letlow, let's talk about has the letter gotten any response yet?
Not yet, but we're going to keep pushing because it's just too important of an issue.
Absolutely. I want to move over to, we're past the midway point of February, which means tax days can be breathing down our necks soon. As I understand it, it looks like refunds are going to be a little bit higher this year.
Oh, now we have some positive news to report.
Right.
So yes, while it's not fun ever to start working on those taxes, Americans are already starting to see the benefit of the tax cuts for working families. that we passed in the One Big Beautiful Bill. I have to give a shout out again to Speaker Johnson, Leader Scalise. They did a phenomenal job of steering this legislation through Congress. I was so proud to support it. And people who've already filed their taxes are seeing on average an 11% higher refund than the prior year. And I don't know about you, Brian, but I could definitely use that. But that's because of many of the tax cuts we passed are retroactive to 2025. Okay, so including a higher child tax credit, higher standard deduction, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on tips. I promised to work with President Trump to lower taxes, and we delivered. I believe the money is better off in the pockets of Louisianans. So they decide how to spend it. I believe way too many of your tax dollars are going up to D.C., but we're doing our part to make sure that those dollars come back into your pocket.
Congresswoman Julia Letlow is our guest for DC Current, presented by LABI. Let's talk a little bit about the campaign. Well, not the campaign trail, but being home to listen to constituents as you are right now. What's the word? What are you hearing right now? Are things changing as far as what our wants, needs, and desires are?
You know, but wherever I go, people still, they want to make sure that we have a secure border. I think this last report that inflation, they're getting a reprieve from that is huge. I'm going to be sharing that across the state, but mostly just listening to people. I definitely hear a lot from our farmers, producers. Their input costs are still way too high. We're trying to make sure that they can have a successful planting season. It's coming up for a lot of them. So really just going around listening to people. Most of my work has been really focused on this ice storm, making sure people get the recovery that they so need and deserve.
Got just a couple minutes left with Julia Letlow. Let's pivot over to kind of how are you interweaving, serving in your current job with running? Because and I talked about this with your opponent in the race earlier, Senator Cassidy. I asked, we have the closed primaries. It's changing the game.
Yeah, it is. But what's so good about being back home is listening to people. So wherever I go, it doesn't matter if it's a campaign event, an official event. I'm about to have a roundtable up in Monroe tomorrow, listening to local officials, but also just people's hearts and minds, where they are, what their dreams and visions are for Louisiana. That's my favorite part of the job. So it doesn't matter if you're on the campaign trail or the official trail. People are so gracious and willing to share what their concerns are, what they want me to be working on. One thing that we didn't talk about was passing the Save America Act. I think it's close to 80% of people, Brian, wherever I go, they believe in this act. It's just common sense that you should have to show a photo ID whenever you go to vote. We passed that through the House. It's jammed up in the Senate. We need the Senate to pass that through. So, just listening to voters, listening to elected officials, and how we can really work together to move Louisiana forward. It's been the honor of my life to do so, and this part of the campaign just makes it that much sweeter.
I've never understood the opposition to voter ID. There's never been an argument made that convinces me that my vote isn't sacred. One of the most sacred things I have, as a citizen of this country, and it should be protected by me proving that I'm me.
Exactly. I mean, think about all the times you have to show your ID, to get on a plane,
right,
to order a beer. I mean, this is just common sense legislation that you should also have to show your ID and prove that you're a United States citizen in order to vote in our elections. So, I mean, close to 80% of the country is in support of this. I have no idea why the Senate can't get it together and pass this legislation through.
Well, the argument always comes back around to like rural communities. A lot of people don't have a need for an ID in a rural community, and it's tougher to get one because you got to make your way over to a major metropolitan area. Every argument I hear about this Congresswoman is not an argument against voter ID. It's an argument in favor of making getting an ID easier.
Absolutely, and we've done so in Louisiana. Huge shout out to the governor for making that easier for people to go get their IDs and get that taken care of. But, if you're a United States citizen, you should definitely have to prove that you are in order to vote in our elections.
She is Congresswoman Julia Letlow, back home in the district right now. We always appreciate a couple minutes. Thank you so much for hopping on board.
Thank you so much, Brian. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Likewise. We'll talk to you soon. Coming up on 850 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Just as a programming note, got a pre-recorded segment on the way out today because it is Ash Wednesday, and I'm going to squeeze in my my Catholic duty and get on over to Mass. That's on the back end of your money now. Look, Everything you heard today is going to be available on demand at talk1073.com after the show is over with. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Haggai Davison for Cup of Tech Gumbo, and Commissioner Dr. Mike Strain, and a whole lot more. All right, Facebook, I got to bounce. We'll see y'all.
Me too.
All right. You got the 4-day in there?
Yes.